कंधे से मिला के कंधा पुरुषों से आगे खड़ी, बुलंदियों के शिखर पे हुनर के दम से अपने चढ़ी। माँ बेटी या बहन हो इनकी कोई नहीं बराबरी। मुट्ठी में बंद लेके सारा जहां, कदमों के आसमां पे छोड़े निशान। सपने सतरंग ले हवा के संग संग, थामे है डोर डस आंधी तूफान, थामे है डोर डस आंधी तूफान। अंधेरों में आशा के दीप जलाती हैं, रिश्तों की पूंजी से परिवार बनाती हैं। कुछ तो घर से ही कारोबार चलाती हैं, घर बाहर कर्तव्य मूल्य का सार बताती हैं। आदर्शों की प्रतिमूर्ति जो कहलाती हैं। कुछ बातें हैं बताने के लिए, इच्छा शक्ति, कर्म शक्ति, ज्ञान शक्ति तमेव च, नारी शक्ति, नारी शक्ति, वारी शक्ति तदैव च। कुछ गाथाएं हैं गाने के लिए, कुछ बातें हैं बताने के लिए, कुछ गाथाएं हैं गाने के लिए। भारी हो उद्योग स्वयं का या फिर होवे सहकारी, घर हो या हो संस्थान समझे जिम्मेदारी। सूझबूझ और दूरदृष्टि ले निर्णय हितकारी, आत्मनिर्भर स्वावलंबी भारतीय नारी। ये जो धुंध है हटाने के लिए, कुछ भूली याद दिलाने के लिए। इच्छा शक्ति, कर्म शक्ति, ज्ञान शक्ति तमेव च, नारी शक्ति, नारी शक्ति, वारी शक्ति तदैव च। कुछ ना समझी समझाने के लिए।
That performance certainly sets the mood and tone of our telethon. Hello everyone, नमस्कार, आदाब। एक साल पहले शुरुआत की हमने, साथी बने आप। This was a journey to script change and together we have miles to go. As I speak today, more than 800 million of us across the world are menstruating. This is just one symbolic space of femininity we occupy every day. This is our period of pride. Today, we are here to speak about it as a national issue because shame and silence around period affects education and India's future. On an average, girls miss 6 days of class each month due to shame surrounding their periods or lack of sanitary products. Each year, a whopping 2.3 crore girls drop out of school. That's the end of 2.3 crore dreams and aspirations. That's millions of potential change makers, artists, activists, scientists, teachers, leaders who lost their opportunities too young for too little. There is a hush around menstruation and puberty in our homes and communities. There are taboos, myths, and unscientific practices that girls are made to follow. There is no priority given to purchase of sanitary pads by families. And then there is silence in our classrooms. There is no mandatory menstrual health and puberty classes in schools. Teachers are forced to avoid talking about it in depth in biology classes due to social and gender barriers. To end the silence, to mandate a curriculum, to renew our understanding and learning, we bring you the Telethon Period of Pride Ek Swat Soch, a PNG, Whisper and Network 18 campaign. And joining us first is the campaign ambassador, the beautiful actor, activist, Bhumi Pednekar. Bhumi, I appreciate your time. Tell us, you have been part of this journey throughout. How has the experience and the learning been?
Thank you so much for that introduction, and I feel extremely honored and privileged to be a part of this initiative. When I joined the movement last year, I had not realized the extent to which the conversation around periods was missing. How the shroud of silence was so palpable that it takes a lot of effort to bring girls and their families out of this really toxic cocoon. I'm privileged to be a part of this initiative and to be a part of this change. The government has developed national level guidelines on menstrual health management as a part of the Swachh Bharat mission. Almost each state runs a parallel program on menstrual awareness for schools. Yet, owing to the deeply entrenched socio-cultural barriers, the education on periods is not delivered in classrooms compulsorily and gender neutrally. We must work alongside governments to destigmatize periods. I am Bhumi Pednekar, and this is my heart's mission for every girl forced, due to these circumstances, out of school, deprived of her dreams. Let us be the wind beneath their wings. If there is a river more beautiful than this, bright as the blood-red edge of the moon, if there is a river more faithful than this, returning each month to the same delta, if there is in the universe such a river, if there is some water more powerful than this wild water, pray that it also flows through animals beautiful and faithful and ancient and female and brave. I invoke excerpts of this poem by the great American poet Lucille Clifton, a tribute to menstruation so that we can remember the power of the feminine even when we face what is a very disheartening reality. Let's look into a film to give you an idea of the importance of this campaign.
The girl child is the heart of a thriving society. When girls are empowered, they become the catalysts of change, raising entire societies and even nations to new heights. But did you know that 1 in 5 girls in India drop out of school as they have no clue what to do when they get their first period? That's 23 million girls missing out on education. Why? Because talking about periods is a taboo. And so, many young girls have no one to discuss this natural biological process. Network 18 along with Whisper launched Period of Pride, Ek Swat Soch, an initiative that seeks to associate periods with pride instead of shame. With Period of Pride, we aim to bring periods and menstrual hygiene management to the forefront as a mandatory part of the school curriculum. This positive transformation must begin at the school. We recognize the importance of proper menstrual health awareness and a more inclusive future for our children. Let's create a safe environment for the girls in school, which will help build a generation that associates periods with strength rather than shame. Together, let's usher in Period of Pride. Ek Swat Soch.
And let's bring smiles on faces of 1 million girls. To empower India's daughters, all stakeholders must walk in unison. And one critical stakeholder here is the government. Today we have with us Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Let's hear from him about the government's roadmap ahead.
Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen, my greetings to all of you. I am honored to be part of Network 18's Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch campaigning that is delivering commendable outcomes in amplifying awareness and education around menstrual health across the country. Friends, as you know that India is a country where Nari tu Narayani has been an integral principle of our ethos and culture. On numerous occasions, our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has reiterated that the women are crucial for the nation building. Our Matru Shakti are our pride. In line with the vision of our Prime Minister Modi, our government has initiated various welfare schemes such as Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Yojana and Balika Samriddhi Yojana to ensure the holistic development of the girl child and women. बालिकाएं शाला में आएं, समाज में, साथियों में, शिक्षकों में, शिक्षा परिसर में मासिक धर्म से जुड़े स्वास्थ्य संबंधित मुद्दे पर जागरूकता के साथ स्वीकार्यता स्वतः ही आएगी। अतः हम सब मिलकर हमारी बालिकाओं की अच्छे स्वास्थ्य एवं उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए मासिक धर्म से जुड़ी समस्त अवधारणाओं पर खुली चर्चा करें, जागृति लाएं, जिससे किसी भी बालिका की मासिक धर्म एवं स्वास्थ्य से जुड़ी वर्जनाओं समस्याओं के कारण शाला ना छोड़नी पड़े। ऐसी न्यूज 18 की इसी पहल सरकार के प्रयासों को और मजबूत करने की दिशा में अच्छी कदम है। माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, quality education for our daughters is crucial for them to be self-reliant, confident and successful. Today, more than 12 crore girls are enrolled in schools across the country. The Ministry of Education is relentlessly working to ensure growth in these numbers. To provide a conducive learning environment to our girls, a provision has been made for Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalaya under our flagship scheme of Samagra Shiksha. It makes me happy to share that 5,930 kgBV have been sanctioned, of which 4,915 kgBV are operational across the country, with a total enrollment of more than 6 lakh girls in these schools. Today, girls with special needs are either enrolled in schools or receive home-based education in an inclusive educational environment. More than 28,000 resource persons and special educators have been engaged to cater to deliver the unique needs from the elementary to higher education levels. About 6 lakh girls with special needs are also receiving stipends through direct benefit transfer. Friends, we have also undertaken various initiatives to minimize school dropout rates of girls as they attain the menstruating age. Under Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan, around 100 crore has been approved for adolescent health and gender sensitization. States and UTs are being encouraged to create awareness about safe uses of the benefits of sanitary napkins. Subsidized sanitary pads have also been made available at Jan Ashodhi Kendras. Menstrual hygiene guidelines have been outlined as a part of the Swachh Bharat mission to support girls and women in schools. With our concerted efforts, I am sure that we will break the taboo around menstruation and ensure that this does not act as an obstacle for girls for pursuing education. I am happy that Period of Pride in association with UNESCO has created a menstrual health management curriculum which will undoubtedly prove crucial in securing the health, growth and future of the girl child of our country. My best wishes to all of you. Thank you, friends.
Thank you, Dharmenji, for taking the time out from your busy schedule to join us today on this telethon. Moving on now, this is the finale of the first season of Period of Pride Ek Swachh Soch, a Whisper and Network 18 initiative, as hundreds and thousands have already got behind the campaign. You can still be a part of this change and help India's girls stay in school.
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. एक स्वच्छ सोच to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
Every signature matters, every voice counts. Let us now bring in the architects of this mission. Akhil Meshram is Senior Director, Category Leader, Feminine Care, Indian Subcontinent at Procter & Gamble. Also joining us is Huma Masood, National Program Officer, Gender and Education at UNESCO. Shailja Mehta is joining us from Dasra. This non-profit organization was the first to bring to the fore the startling number of girls dropping out of school due to absence of menstrual health management. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us and for being part of this movement. Let's discuss your own experience. Akhil, I'm going to begin with you. Period of Pride, a campaign that received the support of 1 million signed petitions and it's counting. Tell us why Period of Pride, the raison d'etre or the reason for existence and the social responsibility thought behind it.
Thanks, Maria, for asking the question. Indeed. So let me start by saying Whisper has always been force for female good. And we believe in driving change from the grassroots level to achieve the 100% menstrual hygiene adoption in India. We put purpose at the heart at our functioning, and Period of Pride is a deliberate effort to bring period education and their hygienic management to the forefront. We all know that there is still a big culture of shame surrounding periods, making it harder for young girls to seek information and education about what periods are, what is the right protection to use, and how and where to buy. Thus, it is absolutely critical and crucial for us to drive awareness that girls are actually dropping out of the school at the onset of puberty due to lack of the information about periods and the right protection which they need during this menstrual hygiene. To ensure girls do not give up a life full of possibilities that education can unlock for them, we need to change this. It is our actually collective responsibility to ensure period to pride education as well as protection to every girl in India. And we must come together to work on making sure more and more women and girls in school are aware about periods and their management, even before they get their first period. And we are confident that power of this stakeholder partnership which we have built together can create a multiplier effect which will transform the landscape of the period health altogether in India. And that's the idea actually behind the Period of Pride. With over 1 million people signing the petition to make period education compulsory in school, Maria, it really shows that Period of Pride resonated with citizens and became a national phenomena, a movement actually for girls to drive the girls' child education and empowerment. This campaign has been instrumental in mobilizing efforts and lead to cover almost more than 50 esteemed organizations, NGOs. We are confident that with every voice joining our mission, we come one step closer to helping young girls complete their education and achieve their dream. Together, we can change what periods represent, which is too many, from shame to strength, and from shame to strength and pride. And Whisper is proud to be at the forefront of the change, Maria. So that's our overall mission with Pride of Period campaign.
Yes, that's right. Huma, come in on this. What are the ways we can contemporize the curriculum in a way that it addresses social barriers too?
We say education is the tool. So if we use the curriculum, if we use and bring changes in our textbooks, if we bring case studies, we bring some kind of activities which would be used in the classroom in role model formats, in terms of activities, in terms of in different ways and methodologies, so those kind of interventions when we'll do in the system, and we take support of the main what we call the stepping board, what we call the NCRT, through the curriculum, through the textbooks, and we create that a very kind of a friendly environment, in the classrooms through curriculum. I think we will definitely make a change and create a different future for our girls.
Thank you, Huma, for those opening thoughts. Let me bring in Shailaja now. Shailaja, your 2015 report found out that nearly 23 million girls, that certainly is a huge number, drop out of school annually due to lack of proper menstrual hygiene management facilities, which include non-availability, I would say, of sanitary napkins. What really prompted that study?
The report that Dasra published called Spot On was published, I think, in 2015. I must admit there has been significant movement since then. But the NFHS data of 15-16 showed that there were about 336 million menstruating women and girls across India, and about 121 million, which is say a roughly 36% only, had access to any kind of commercially or locally manufactured sanitary napkins. Having said that, coming back to your question and to respond to it, what prompted us to undertake this study is that this topic wasn't at that point being discussed with as much focus, with as much priority, and in the way that one thought about menstrual hygiene above and beyond just the use of sanitary napkins. It is part of sexual reproductive health as well as rights for adolescent girls, young women, and women as well. And so the idea was for us to shine some light across the different nuances of what makes up menstrual health and hygiene, what makes up safe sanitary practices, linking it to other aspects such as health, such as choice of adolescent girls and women. So that was the genesis of us starting to publish the report.
So Akhil, how has Whisper's outreach programs and communication campaigns helped bring communities alive to the need of awareness through its various interventions?
We began our journey to normalize period in India more than 30 years ago as we launched in India. At that time, the number of women using hygienic protection was less than a crore. And today this number is 10x and continues to grow. This change has come around only with the deliberate effort which we have put in. The conversation that we witness on period today is so obvious and so upfront today was not so obvious not so long ago. Whisper has been at the forefront in driving and leading the change through various long-term efforts to normalize the period conversation, and a couple of key interventions which I would like to talk about, which has been pivotal in driving these societal changes are: one, creating the on-ground impact through education. And in line with our commitment to drive period education, we have been educating more than 4 crore girls on period and their management since 1995 through our flagship mother-daughter period education and awareness program. Further, we pledge to continue to educate another 2.5 crore girls over the next 3 years on puberty and period hygiene as part of Keeping Girls Cool campaign. Based on my experience, as I have been in company for more than a decade, I have seen young girls actually joining company and joining PNG who have been exposed to these period education and education campaign in the past, and it's so heartening to know that we are really touching and improving lives of these young girls. That they now, once they join PNG, want to associate with Whisper because they really believe in the campaign and the real value it adds. So it's really heartening to see that. This was the time when the first time they were educated and they have been exposed to this campaign and what the value it kind of add to their lives. Adding to it, we are also been breaking taboos on our advertising and media as well. And we have been leveraging our voice in advertising and media to bust taboo associated with periods and speak about stereotypes in the past. We were the first brand to actually talk about periods as well as showing pads on the television back in 1993. And Whisper became the first brand in 2014 as well to talk about the topic of taboos related to periods head on a globally renowned campaigns like Touch the Pickle, which has bring about all the periods out of the closet and into the pop culture. We followed this with another award-winning revolutionary campaigns such as Whisper Break the Silence, Mere Right Mere Rules, which are characterized by local cultural insights, which has led to organic consumer movements as well. On top of this, our latest Our Teaching Girl school movement, which less than a year has been supported by UNESCO, which has led to breakthrough partnership with AIM to integrate period education school curriculum, which has support from voices like Bhumi Pednekar, Soha Ali Khan, Duti Chand, and of course the citizens of India as well, which has made it a national movement. And this movement has been impacting more than 90 lakh girls. On top of it, Whisper has been very, very responsive to the pandemic-related and pandemic-induced challenges as well. We understand that raising awareness about period during these times and access to the period protection in the need of these is much more critical than ever before during this COVID times. Whisper has donated more than 35 lakhs pads to the frontline workers, women in shelter homes, migrant families, and communities in need across India. The donations were driven in partnership with various state governments and relief organizations. On top of it, we know that schools were remained closed during this time at the start of the pandemic, and we pivoted to our period education program from offline to an online education and online outreach, which is educating more than 50 lakhs girls virtually on period hygienic and management related activities. We will continue to be very, very deliberate on our efforts on driving the positive impact in the communities that we work in.
My question now is, how do we empower our teachers to impart this curriculum?
This is a very important question. The point is that we want to reverse the tide of talking about this issue of menstrual health and hygiene as a important point. It's as a normal discussion in the classroom. How do we, reverse the tide of, non-participation of girls in classroom and in higher education? I think one way is that our teachers should consider this particular discussion on menstrual health and hygiene and puberty education within the classrooms as an easy topic, as an easy discussion. And therefore, if our teachers are more sensitive, they have the accurate knowledge and information which is part of the syllabus, and they're able to engage with the students, and they're trained by the authorities, and they have engagement with NGOs, with CSOs, and they have a whole training system, and they have a curriculum. And that is why we are really working towards building a very cohesive, a very engaging curriculum, which will have case studies from different regions. It will have pan-India focus. It will have a regional focus. We will try to have not only in English but vernacular languages. We will try to have different case studies and positive stories for teachers to discuss in the classroom. Along with that, there will be also training provided to the teachers to help them, a kind of a hand-holding for them so that they can manage the classrooms better on this particular issue and topic.
Ma'am, what according to you are the challenges to menstrual hygiene education in India? Not to mention, we have millions of male teachers who too are a product of our social and gender barriers.
Yeah, look, I will say that sure, there are male teachers, there are female teachers. However, at the crux of it all is the social, behavioral and cultural practices, norms, and mindsets that we need to shift and change. Unless we don't look at that at a multi-stakeholder level, which is not only teachers, not only male or female teachers, but also parents, fathers, brothers, community members, panchayat leaders. We need to look at the entire range of community members, service providers, from the highest level in the government or the private sector all the way to the community level, and really create this massive shift of saying this is not something that is dirty, this is not something that needs to be tabooed. We need to talk about this because it has serious impacts on the life of women and girls. We have to recognize this is a health issue like any other health issues are. We are free to talk about it. We must talk about it. There must be a dialogue about it. It shouldn't be shunned.
Ma'am, could you please let us know what the proposed curriculum from UNESCO looks like?
What we are planning is that we will have 6 modules prepared on different areas. So one that which is very important, and in UNESCO we consider baseline very important. And therefore, as a first step, we will be doing a gap analysis on the various themes which we have selected. So our focus would be on gender, on teachers, on girls with disabilities, on health and hygiene and nutrition. And we will also be focusing, of course, as I mentioned, very particularly on teachers. So the gap analysis is going to cover and look at all these 6 modules and the gaps which exist in these particular 6 areas. So I consider this partnership, it's one of its kind. It is first time in India that we are actually going to be addressing through 6 modules, and in this we are trying to cover as much as possible by documenting case studies, by documenting terminologies which are existing, by documenting what are the previous methods which were followed, what were the taboos in the system which were followed, what is the real situation in the classroom wherein these issues have not been addressed. And I would definitely like to again congratulate Procter & Gamble for coming up with this unique idea, for making this happen first time in the country. And this is the initiative jointly curated, and I feel that today and in this time and in this age, when we are doing this partnership, we are actually contributing, we are actually enhancing and empowering the girls of today.
Thank you, Akhil, Huma and Shailaja. Pleasure talking to you, and we really appreciate you taking time out to help kickstart this conversation and help us in setting agenda behind the need for menstrual health management awareness and inclusion within the school curriculum. And as we embark on this finale, Whisper and UNESCO are already developing a curriculum to present to the NCERT. Your petition to support this will help keep our girls in school. Many continue to join us to make this initiative a movement. Over 10 lakh people, yes, you heard that right, over 10 lakh people have already signed this petition, and these numbers are increasing with every passing minute. You too can be a part of this movement. We urge you to log on to periodofpride.com and sign the petition.
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. Ek Swachh Soch to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
हम क्यों चुप रहे और इसे छुपाते रहे? मासिक धर्म एक औरत के, एक स्त्री के इस्तेमाल में गतिविधि ही तो है।
We are Team Praakriti and menstruation matters.
Every other problem is acknowledged by society as a problem, and society makes an effort to work towards it. However, when we talk about menstruation, its very existence is not acknowledged by society. What are mere statistics and numbers for us are affecting women's life in a very, very real way every day. So we started Praakriti in an effort that no other girl from our generation will have to suffer any medical problems that might stem from the ignorance that comes from the taboos.
Being a boy, I was bullied and teased a lot during the start of this initiative, and I knew that was the problem that had to change. Once we went through with the initiative, once we conducted a variety of activities with different classes, a lot of boys showed up for volunteering, and the boys who were actually teasing me before, they actually signed up to be the head volunteers for Praakriti.
One way we connected with the youth was through video games, but it's an educational experience because you're being rewarded with information. So in the game, you kill a certain number of crap monsters, and you're rewarded with a hot water bottle.
The school, of course, they gave us a platform. They allowed us to conduct activities with the students, and they allowed us to conduct activities with students as young as 4th graders.
I think that I am really, really proud to be one of the founding members of the Praakriti, and especially being a boy. When people saw that even a boy was talking about this so freely, they became more and more motivated, and even they understood that this was not a topic to be ashamed of, and anyone could talk about this freely.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
At 12, I asked my mother about periods. Her answer is a change in conversation. The teacher in my 8th grade biology class rushes past the chapter on reproduction. The first time I hear the word menstruation is when a stain in my underpants stares at me with zero hesitation. I am handed a box of pads, but it is too late. I have already stained my brain with stereotypes that say periods mein bahar mat jao, rasoi ke andar mat aao. Learn to hide the fact that you are a woman now. This is not just my story. While you and I may be out of school already, 1 out of 5 girls continue to drop out early. These young girls and boys deserve what we never received. An education in periods is the need. To take all that comes with womanhood in our stride, let's teach our children. Periods are not a prison.
Myth. During periods, girls are impure. Fact. Periods are nature's way of saying you're growing up. Myth. Girls on their periods should not go to school, enter a kitchen or visit public places. Fact. There is absolutely nothing impure about periods. It's a natural bodily function. Myths have been repeated all too often. They feel familiar, almost a part of wisdom, which is dangerous. We owe it to our nation to counter them with facts. Every time. Welcome back to the telethon of Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, a PNG Whisper and Network 18 campaign.
Thank you so much, Bhumi. Now tell us, what is your message for the real heroes who have been working relentlessly, round the clock, I would say, for creating this kind of awareness that is needed around period education?
I think for starters, I want to thank all of them, because they are on a path and they are leading us beautifully. I think over the last few months, over the last few years, we have seen an active change, but this is only the start. And I just want to tell all our heroes that we are in it together, and we are going to make sure that every girl in this country is well protected. Every girl gets her right to education, which is stopped because once she starts her periods, her right to a safe environment, her right to good hygiene. And it is our duty as citizens of this country to make sure that our daughters are well protected. It is not fair for any of them to not have rights to live their dreams. उनके सपने उनसे छिने जाते हैं क्योंकि एक normal physiological चीज़ उनके साथ शुरू होती है. हमें हमारी ड्यूटी है कि हम हमारे हीरोज़ को सपोर्ट करें और उन सारी बच्चियों को जिनके पास एक्सेस नहीं है, भले वो गुड मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन हो या एजुकेशन हो, हम उन्हें सपोर्ट करें. सो थैंक यू सो मच एंड अगेन आई एम गोना से दिस दैट वी आर विथ यू इन इट completely.
Yes, that's right, Bhumi. We are in it together. Joining us on this telethon to share her thoughts is Arjuna Awardee Jwala Gutta, the ace badminton player who has won India accolades in the international arena. Jwala, I appreciate your time. Thousands of girls drop out of school each year, unfortunately, due to lack of understanding, silence, and evident discomfort around periods. However, in the world of sports, in your world, one has to understand every nuance of one's physiology. Coming from that space, what are the few things you would like to tell India's girls about periods?
What I want to tell all the girls about, their body and having periods, it's natural, and you have to accept it. And you have to talk about it, and not feel uncomfortable, I think. And it also it should start at home. You have to discuss this with your mom, who's already experienced years of, going through that monthly menstrual cycle. I think we don't talk about it, and that's why it becomes a little uncomfortable. I think we need to talk more and more about it, and not feel shy, because I think having your periods is healthy for our body and for our mind.
Jwala, girls are often told not to do any activity or play during their periods because their periods might get worse. Do you think it's true?
No, it's not at all true. You should be as normal as possible. Yes, everybody has, I had a lot of aches and pains. I still have, when I get my menstrual cycles, I still have these little cramping and all of that. But, that shouldn't stop you from doing normal things. You should know how to overcome that. And it's natural, you have to. I've played one of my best matches during my, periods. So I think it's a myth, that you cannot do. But yes, if that day, if you're feeling a little low, you want to rest it out, for one day, that's totally up to you, how, what kind of symptoms you have. But generally, I think just treat it as any normal day.
Jwala, you are certainly an inspiration for generations of girls. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Bhumi, tell us, why do you think we are emphasizing so much for an upgraded curriculum?
I think जो हमारा नया अपडेटेड करिकुलम होगा, आई थिंक उसमें सबसे ज़रूरी चीज़ ये है कि लड़कों और लड़कियों दोनों को ये समझाया जाए कि ये जो नेचुरल फिनोमेना है, जो फिजियोलॉजिकल चीज़ जो हर लड़की जिससे गुजरती है, वो एक नेचुरल अकरेंस है. आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि स्कूल में जो आपके फॉर्मेटिव ईयर्स है, आपका स्कूल और आपकी पढ़ाई और आपका एजुकेशन काइंड ऑफ प्रिपेयर करता है आपको आपके फ्यूचर के लिए. आपकी आपका मॉरल कंपस कैसा होगा, आपका फेथ, आपका बिलीफ सिस्टम क्या होगा, एंड फॉर द फ्यूचर जनरेशंस एंड फॉर अ सेफर एनवायरनमेंट फॉर आवर गर्ल्स, स्पेशली व्हेन दे आर ऑन देयर पीरियड. आई थिंक एक स्कूल लेवल पे ही ये चीज़ें सिखानी बहुत ज़रूरी है कि एक नेचुरल अकरेंस है. ये भी बताना ज़रूरी है that in the past or even presently, what kind of biases do women have to deal with only because they get their period. It is very important for people to know about the statistics, about how girls have to drop out of school, or how they are forced into marriage, how they are forced into, finding refuge at home, how their dreams and ambitions are just completely snatched out of their hands because of something that is so regular. Just like breathing is, or just like, and something that is so important because it is this process that aids in the process of birth. I think ये चीज़ें खुल के हमारे करिकुलम में इसके बारे में बात करना बहुत ही ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. And I really hope कि नया करिकुलम इसी प्रकार का सपोर्ट हमारे बच्चों को दे.
जब हम इस बात की चर्चा करते हैं भूमि के इस पर ज़्यादा बातचीत हो, घर के अंदर ड्राइंग रूम में कॉन्वर्सेशन हो, तो उस थॉट के बिहाइंड फादर्स की क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है? क्योंकि परिवार में अगर बाप माँ में चर्चा होने लगी, बातचीत होने लगी, हाउ डू यू एंश्योर दैट फादर्स बिकम पार्ट ऑफ दिस मूवमेंट?
I think the biggest change that I'm witnessing now is that we have a lot of fathers and brothers who have become a part of this movement. That's what's important. As you rightly said, we need both the sides of the coin to kind of balance each other out. We need both the genders to be equally a part of this movement because, betiyan sirf auraton ki nahi hoti. Our daughters belong to all of us equally. I think a very big change that I have seen is that today girls, especially in rural India or in B-center towns or smaller cities, are actually coming forward and discussing and talking about their periods, about their experiences, about the difficult times that they faced and about the kind of change that they have seen in their personal lives. We are seeing girls who are actually going and educating their parents about their experiences, and I think it's great. We are seeing brothers that are kind of convincing their families that no, my sister has an equal right of attending school just like I do, and everything is interconnected, and I don't think we can remove any part of the puzzle to complete it. So just reiterating the fact that men, women, boys, girls, we all need to come together to make sure that no girl is deprived of a dream.
And lending support to this campaign, we have one of the most influential media personality, managing editor of CNBC Television 18, Shireen Bhan is joining us now. Bhumi, please take forward this conversation with Shireen.
Shireen, today you are on the other side of the table for a change, and not without a reason. You and your colleagues have begun a unique initiative. Tell us about it.
Well, thanks very much, Bhumi. I prefer being on the other side, asking the questions as opposed to answering them. But, we're particularly proud about the fact that we've been able to take this unique initiative forward, as you pointed out. This is something that is a matter of pride for all of us here at Network 18 because it's an issue that is so important. This is an issue that's been stigmatized. It's an issue that has conditioned women to hold themselves back for no reason. It's so natural, and yet we shy away from speaking about it. So this is really our effort to mainstream the conversation around menstrual health, and I'm so glad that we've been able to do this across Network 18.
Unfortunately, the MHM crisis is seen only as a social issue. It remains restricted to the development discourse. Though the truth is, it has a huge implication on the nation's future economically and also in its development.
Absolutely, Bhumi. This is not just a social issue or a cultural problem. This is an economic issue as well. As I pointed out, because of the stigmatization of menstrual health, of issues related to menstruation, women have opted out of education. Women have opted out of the workforce. Of course, there are other issues linked to security and safety, patriarchy, and all of that add to this deadly mix of holding back women. But the fact of the matter is that this is a challenge. I mean, let's speak about our own examples, and we come from very privileged backgrounds. We have access to products, we have access to hygiene, we have access to toilets, and so on and so forth. But even here in the media today, you have to think about the fact that if you're going to be out reporting on the field, and it also happens to be a time when you are menstruating, then where do you find access to good facilities? How do you cope with having to be out on the field, and so on and so forth? So these are practical challenges that you need to deal with. And as I pointed out, this is us thinking about this from a place of privilege. Imagine in rural India where you don't have access to toilets, you have access to nothing in terms of sanitary napkins and sanitary pads, and which is why I believe it is important that the government, through its various schemes which are already in place, whether at the central government level or the state government level, make this accessible, make something like a sanitary pad accessible to women across this country. And more importantly, continue to have a conversation around these issues, because that is critical to bridging the information deficit and overcoming the cultural problems that exist.
Thank you, Shireen, for your thoughts. One of the most effective ways to empower is education. Knowledge in hands is power. Mobilizations such as ours strongly believe that if menstruation and puberty is taught openly in classrooms and in detail, the hush and the shame, the reticence around it will slowly and surely begin to dissipate. Girls will be able to ask for what they need to go through their periods with dignity. Curriculum upgrade is the need of the hour, and our next panel members are helping the cause.
And for this discussion, we are being joined by Dilip Patubala. He is the co-founder and CEO of Uninhibited, previously known as Sukhi Bhava. Uninhibited has destigmatized menstrual and sexual reproductive health for 200,000 plus marginalized girls in 10 states across India, which will eventually, we are hoping, will lead to reduced gender inequity and better health and well-being. Also is Lakshmi Murthy, a pioneer clearly in the area of menstrual health. She has developed a visual communication language for the rural areas with the help of locals in Rajasthan. We also have Dr. Sridhar Srivastav. He is Joint Director, National Council of Educational Research and Training. Dr. Sridhar, period education is the key that can unlock this shame and taboos which comes with menstruation. What does NCERT teach as of today on adolescence, puberty and menstruation, and do you think it is sufficient?
You see, NCERT in fact is reaching to school and students through different mediums. There are National Population Education Program, School Health and Wellness Program, and then there is an Adolescence Education Program. The things are there in the content of the textbooks, things are there in the training material, manual, and the purpose is to make children and parents aware about these things and just to impart life skills to children, which is needed to handle this situation, this changes when it takes place. But it matters that at the other end, how the program is taken. If in certain states, we find that if the program is taken seriously, where there the level of awareness is different. And for children who are studying in those schools which are covered under these programs, the awareness level is different. So it is very important that how far or how effectively all the partners take these programs.
Lakshmi ma'am, you have been working on ground on reproductive health for more than 30 years. In your experience, ma'am, how have you made sure that the MHM curriculum which you teach has evolved so that young girls know how to manage menstruation safely and with dignity?
See, curriculum keeps evolving. So if I looked at the curriculum that I had in the year 2000 and the curriculum I have now, it is at one level it's the same. The basics are the same. For example, information about your anatomy or information about PMS, or those basics remain. There have been major changes for me in the curriculum. For example, we never even had sanitary napkins in the areas where I work. It's only 10 years ago that we started getting sanitary napkins in an area. So that's the other thing that we have included. Each time I meet a new group of young people, as how much social media influences them. Especially during COVID years, people have invested in mobile phones because that is the only way to communicate. And young people see things on smartphones, they look at videos, they look at YouTubes, and recently we had this conversation, WaterAid and all of us were having this conversation with adolescent young boys and girls, and then they said, yes, we want things on our mobile phones. I think Dilip and all of us are in the same business of breaking the silence and helping menstruators to speak openly, to voice their needs, and getting non-menstruators to make a conducive environment for menstruators.
Dilip, considering you run a very impactful program yourself, what do you think is the best way to educate young girls and boys about menstrual hygiene management? What will you recommend as the basic principle for the period curriculum in schools?
what we have realized is there is curriculum around reproductive health systems already, but what we see in majority of the schools is majority of the teachers are not willing to actually like teach that particular subject, or the examinations itself are not really covering the questions around reproductive health, because the system itself is now by default getting into a place where they're not engaging with the subject in itself. Like, this cannot be a subject where there is just information available and expect people to or students to engage with it. We need to be able to like train the teachers in creating that sense of safe spaces, making sure the teachers themselves are comfortable engaging in a subject like this, while we also like figure out how to disseminate the curriculum within the school systems. So the idea is there is a need to figure out and have a concrete plan around the implementation of the curriculum in the school systems, and not end the conversation by just instilling the curriculum.
Dr. Sridhar, Dilip here spoke about the proper implementation of the curriculum. What is your view about the way forward? How can we make sure that the lessons do not just remain as printed in pages of a book, but get implemented on ground, with the thoughts developing in that direction?
We can think of bringing certain different way for taking all these things further, like role play, and then group discussion, or some discussion along with parents. So even if things are there in the curriculum transaction is very important. Curriculum transaction for such topics often becomes a tricky issue when there is a less number of teacher, or there is a teacher who is not feeling comfortable to transact these kind of topics. So it is very important that we should rope in parents, we should rope in some other community member who come forward and interact with the students in a very nice manner, and they take along all these topics with the children. That would be very healthy. So what I'm trying to say, that curriculum, making change in curriculum or bringing something in its curriculum is one point, but if it remains only in books or in the printed way in the papers, that won't make any impact. How it is transacted, that is very, very important, and all the stakeholders from the school system should come forward, and they should first assign importance to these topics.
Thank you, Dr. Srivastav, Dilip and Lakshmi ji, for sharing your thoughts. And Bhumi, let us once again request our viewers. We have already garnered more than 1 million petitions and the counters are still on. Go ahead.
10 लाख से भी ज़्यादा लोगों ने इस मुहिम को अपना समर्थन दिया है। आप भी इस मुहिम से जुड़ सकते हैं। लॉग ऑन करिए या मिस्ड कॉल दीजिए। डिटेल्स आपके स्क्रीन पर हैं।
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. Ek Swachh Soch to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
अब सबके पीरियड्स आते हैं, मेरे पीरियड्स आते हैं, किस किस के पीरियड्स आते हैं? सबके पीरियड्स आते हैं। अब आप मेरे को बताओ कि पीरियड्स को हम और किस किस नाम से बोलते हैं? ऋतुस्राव, पीरियड्स, मेंसेस, मेंस्ट्रुएशन, डेट्स, चम्स, और स्टार्टिंग में आपने बताया था ऋतुस्राव, मासिक धर्म तो होता ही है। तो अब यहाँ पे आप देखो 20 crore girls drop out of school during their periods. It is something which is very serious. So we basically started targeting village clusters, not only in areas of Haryana, but we even went up to Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, wherein we did certain campaigns. हमने फिर उनको क्या किया, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन के साथ साथ वी इवन स्टार्टेड अवेयरिंग देम अबाउट व्हाट इज़ मेंस्ट्रुएशन, पीरियड्स, टैबूज एसोसिएटेड। स्कूल लेवल पे जहाँ पे हम सारी चीज़ें सीखते हैं, जहाँ पे हम हर एक सब्जेक्ट को सीखते हैं, जहाँ पे हम बोलना सीखते हैं चीज़ों को लेके, आई थिंक दिस इज़ समथिंग विच इज़ नेसेसरी सो दैट यू नो देयर इज़ नो ashamed discussion over a topic of menstruation and people are carefree talking about and not treating it as a disorder.
इन लोगों ने बच्चों को अच्छी तरह से प्रॉपरली समझाया, सेल्फ हाइजीन के बारे में बताया और बच्चों को सैनिटरी नैपकिन्स यूज़ करने के तरीके बताए। तो हमारी गर्ल्स के लिए ये बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है।
Amari behind the name is Miracle of God, which I believe every woman in the country is. So the name was itself, the work that we are doing for the girls in need is itself a miracle of God that is happening.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, एक स्वच्छ सोच, an initiative by Network 18.
Welcome back to this special telethon dedicated to India's daughters. We are here together for a very critical cause. Lack of period literacy affects education. On an average, girls miss 6 days of class each month due to shame surrounding their periods or lack of sanitary products. Each year, a whopping 23% of girls drop out of school, give up potential careers, and most likely become child brides. We are here so that together we can disrupt this vicious cycle.
The sex ratio in Chhattisgarh stands at 991 females to 1,000 males. The female-male ratio is amongst the highest in the country and far above the national average. In fact, in some districts of Chhattisgarh, there are more than 1,000 females to 1,000 males. The state's primary focus now is to ensure that the girls do not drop out of school for multiple reasons, be it due to domestic chores, weak financial status, social atmosphere, and no school in the vicinity that needs to be addressed. Joining us now is Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Bhupesh Baghel.
छत्तीसगढ़ में महिलाएं निजता, सुरक्षा और गरिमा के साथ स्वस्थ जीवन जी सके, यह शासन की प्राथमिकताओं में शामिल है। महिलाओं के स्वास्थ्य और शारीरिक स्वच्छता के प्रति जागरूकता के लिए शासन के विभिन्न विभागों के माध्यम से लगातार प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। शुचिता योजना के तहत स्कूलों में सैनिटरी नैपकिन वेंडिंग मशीन लगाई गई है। इसके साथ ही बालिकाओं को सैनिटरी नैपकिन के उपयोग और स्वच्छता के संबंध में जानकारी दी जा रही है। माहवारी स्वच्छता को लेकर छत्तीसगढ़ में कई नवाचार किए जा रहे हैं। नक्सल प्रभावित सुदूर दक्षिण बस्तर दंतेवाड़ा जिले में वनांचल क्षेत्र की महिलाओं में स्वास्थ्य और स्वच्छता के प्रति जागरूकता लाने के लिए मेहरार चुमान यानी महिलाओं का सम्मान अभियान के जरिए बेहतरीन प्रयास शुरू किए गए हैं। आज भी ग्रामीण और शहरी क्षेत्र में महिलाएं इसे लेकर सहज नहीं रहती। कई बार किशोरी बालिकाएं घर से बाहर नहीं निकलती, स्कूल नहीं जाती और शहरों में भी महिलाएं खुलकर इस विषय पर बात नहीं करती। मासिक धर्म महिलाओं में स्वच्छता और स्वास्थ्य से जुड़ा विषय है। इसके लिए जन जागरूकता की ज़रूरत है। महामारी के दौरान भी बेटियां, बहनों को स्वविकास का पूरा अवसर मिल सके, इसके लिए हमने सामूहिक प्रयास करना होगा। इसके लिए व्यवहार परिवर्तन का काम करने के साथ साथ सबसे ज़रूरी है हमारी सोच में परिवर्तन का होना।
One of the newest states of India is Jharkhand. Jharkhand is also known for its sporting culture. In fact, in the current women's hockey team, there are 2 girls from the state. We are now being joined by Joba Manji. She is the Women and Child Development Minister of the state. पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड ने देश भर से 10 लाख से अधिक सिग्नेचर्स को प्राप्त करने में कामयाबी हासिल कर ली है। ये भारत की उस आवाज का आह्वान है। ये महत्वपूर्ण है क्योंकि हमारा लक्ष्य है एक पाठ्यक्रम। हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जौबा जी। लड़कों और परिवार के और सदस्यों को भी पीरियड्स की जानकारी देने की जरूरत है। घर में अगर ऐसा माहौल हो जहां खुले मन से चर्चा हो, जहां बिना शर्म के बातचीत होने लगे, तो लड़कियों को भी हिम्मत मिलेगी बाहर का सिचुएशन फेस करने में। आप क्या सोचती हैं?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो आप लोग को धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि आज बालिकाओं के लिए जो उनका किस तरह से शुरुआत से में जो उनको अच्छा से अपना इस चीज़ को प्रयोग करें, उपयोग करें, इसके बारे में आप लोगों ने जो आज वेबिनार के माध्यम से जानने का भी कोशिश की। एक महिला होने के नाते मैं भी ये आपकी जो कुछ बातें सामने आई उससे हमें भी उस दौर से हम लोग भी पार किए कि शुरुआत में निश्चित रूप से बहुत चीज़ों से थोड़ा सा हम लोग हिचकते हैं या शर्मिंदा भी होती है, अपने माता से भी नहीं इस बात को नहीं शेयर करते हैं। तो इस तरह की मामला रही है और ऐसा कार्यक्रम के माध्यम से और सरकार की भी ये जो बालिकाएं जो आपका मासिक धर्म शुरू होने से पहले कैसा रहना है, किस तरह से अपने शरीर को स्वच्छ और स्वस्थ रखना है, इसके बारे में भी समय समय पर जागरूकता के रूप में लिया जाता है। लेकिन जो शिक्षा को ही शिक्षा विभाग इसमें अधिकांश हम उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है। जैसा अब हमारे लड़कियां जो स्कूल जाती हैं और स्कूल में इसको भी एक पाठ्यक्रम में भी इसको शामिल करने से और इसका फलाफल होगा। यह हम लोग भी शिक्षा से विभाग से इसको विमर्श करते हुए पाठ्यक्रम में भी इसको शामिल करने का भी हम लोग प्रयास करेंगे। और हमारे जो राज्य में जितने भी लड़कियां हैं इनको ये जो मासिक धर्म जो होता है उससे शुरुआत में ही इनको सचेत और सावधानी बरतने की आवश्यकता है।
लड़कियां सैनिटरी पैड्स का इस्तेमाल करें क्योंकि कपड़े से बीमारियां होती हैं। ये जानकारी और उससे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है इस बात की जानकारी कि लड़कियां अपनी पढ़ाई बीच में ना छोड़ें, क्योंकि स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट रेशियो भी मैनेज करना होता है। आप उसको किस तरह से देखती हैं?
लड़कियों स्कूल नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए, इसमें तो छोड़ने का सवाल ही नहीं है। और कहीं भी इस तरह का यदि होता है तो यह गलत हम उसको मानते हैं, क्योंकि अब मासिक धर्म को लेकर के ठीक है 1-2 दिन जिनका जो शुरुआत के क्रम में थोड़ा सा परेशानी होती है, जैसा पहला दिन, सेकेंड दिन, उसके बाद तो फिर नॉर्मल हो जाता है। तो उस हालत में स्कूल छोड़ने की आवश्यकता नहीं। मैं आज इस वेबिनार के माध्यम से ये संदेश देना चाहेंगे, जो भी हमारे जो लड़कियां हैं जो मासिक धर्म के समय में उसके लिए पैड आज उपलब्ध है और ये राज्य सरकार के तरफ से भी इस तरह का पैड को भी उपलब्ध कराने का भी योजना हम लोग बन रहे हैं और भिन्न संस्थाओं द्वारा उसको दिया ही जाता है। लेकिन इतना जितने हमारे राज्य में लड़कियां हैं सबको नहीं हो पाता है, लेकिन ये प्रयास है। और जहाँ तक आपने एक बात को उल्लेख किया, जो कपड़ा को इस्तेमाल करने से शरीर को बीमारी, ये स्वाभाविक है। हम लोग का जो समय पार हो गया वही कपड़ा ही का ही इस्तेमाल हो रहा है, तो हर जगह कपड़ा को इस्तेमाल होता है करेगा तो उससे परेशानी भी होती है। और ये जो पैड है वो अपना समय जैसा आप उपयोग किए आप उसको अपना कोई पेपर में किसी भी चीज में आप उसको अच्छा से बंद करके आप कहीं ऐसा डस्टबिन है आप वहाँ फेंक सकते हैं, तो इससे परेशानी नहीं है, कपड़ा वाला परेशानी है। इसलिए इसको आवश्यकता है हमारे जो लड़कियां होती है जो मासिक धर्म का जो शुरुआत होता है घर के अंदर में अपने जो परिवार में इसको खुल के बोलना चाहिए और सबको जानना भी चाहिए, ताकि बच्ची जो है उसको शरीर के लिए सारा जानकारी हो जाएगा तो किसी भी तरह का शरीर को नुकसान नहीं हो सकता है।
Now let's take a look at how on the ground does Whisper reach out to young girls and equally important and perhaps more I would say their mothers.
Many of us have read about Kakori in our history textbooks. This haphazard rural-urban block is steeped in artistic tradition. And then there are layers of shadows, silence, shame where the other Kakori lives, where young hopes and dreams are routinely stifled. This is an unusual milieu, Periods and puberty are not talked about, not even in hushed tones. At the onset of puberty, young girls are taken aback. Fear sets in. Many completely retreat into their homes. In an effort to help these young girls achieve their full potential, on the ground, Whisper has launched the Har Din Behtar movement, mobilizing support across touchpoints and reaching out to over 4 crore girls. This program includes spending time with mothers as well, addressing the critical knowledge gap that exists within homes.
Whisper has been part of this movement of educating girls and mothers in India for over 25 years. And our mother-daughter menstrual hygiene awareness program, we're very proud to share, is going to be reaching another 2.5 crore girls over the next 3 years. And that's a commitment that we are making.
मेरा नाम आरती है और मैं पीएनजी कंपनी की तरफ से आई हूँ। ये जो प्रोजेक्ट है हमारा वो स्वास्थ्य शिक्षा अभियान के अंतर्गत आता है, जिसका नाम है हर दिन बेहतर। जो भी विलेज एरिया है हमारा, जो रूरल इंडिया है, उसमें हम जाएं, वहाँ पे हम फीमेल्स को उनको अवेयर करें मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन के बारे में, क्योंकि आज भी अगर हम बात करें अपने रूरल इंडिया की तो वहाँ पे लोग खुल के इसके बारे में बात नहीं करते हैं। जो लड़कियाँ हैं हमारी, वो कई बार अपना स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट तक करती हैं इसकी वजह से।
मेरा जब पहला पीरियड्स था तो मैं 13 साल की थी और बहुत डर लग रहा था हमें। उस समय मुझे तो डर लगने लगा था कि कहीं कोई बीमारी तो नहीं होगी मुझे। पीरियड्स को लेके हमने बहुत चक्कर स्कूल मिस किया, क्योंकि पीरियड्स जब मेरे होते हैं तो मेरे कुछ समझ में नहीं आता है, पढ़ने का हर चीज़ से कुछ करने का दिल नहीं करता।
हम आज आपसे जो बात करेंगे वो 3 टॉपिक में करेंगे: विकास, स्वास्थ्य और स्वच्छता। किसको किसको पीरियड्स आते हैं? क्या आप में से कोई ऐसा भी है जो कभी कपड़ा इस्तेमाल करता है? जब मुझे नहीं पता था, ठीक है, कि कपड़ा नहीं इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए, कपड़ा नहीं अच्छा रहता है ड्यूरिंग पीरियड, तो हमने भी कपड़ा इस्तेमाल किया, मैंने भी किया है। बच्चों, आपको पता है कि कपड़ा इस्तेमाल करने से क्या क्या दिक्कतें आती हैं? क्या होता है बेटा?
मैम एलर्जी हो जाती है, मैम
खुजली होती है,
दाने भी निकल आते
महीन से दाने निकल आते।
मैं लेटी थी, जब मैं सो के उठी तो मुझे कुछ ऐसा महसूस हुआ, तो मेरी मम्मी आई, मेरी मम्मी ने हमसे पूछा कि क्या हुआ, तो मैंने कहा कुछ ऐसा है, तो मेरी मम्मी ने मुझे कपड़ा यूज़ करने के लिए दिया।
हम आपको एक डेमो करके दिखाएंगे कि कपड़ा क्यों नहीं इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए पीरियड के दौरान, ठीक है? ये पैंटी दिख रही है? चलिए, अगर हम कपड़े को पैड की तरह इस्तेमाल करेंगे तो कुछ इस तरह से शेप बनाएंगे उसका। कपड़े पे पानी डाल के अगर देखें, ठीक है, हमने इस पे लिया और पानी डाला, पानी डालने के बाद तुरंत अगर हमने इसको सीधा कर दिया तो क्या हुआ? पानी गिर गया। बेटा, आप इसको छू के देखना, गीला लग रहा है। अब हम इस पे भी पानी डालते हैं, क्या एक बूंद पानी कहीं गिरा? नीचे कुछ दिख रहा है, कहीं पानी गिरा? जो लोग पहले कपड़ा इस्तेमाल कर रहे थे, वो लड़कियां आज की डेट में पैड इस्तेमाल करती हैं।
पैड मिला तो मैं अम्मी के पास गई, तो अम्मी ने कहा ये क्या चीज़ है, इससे क्या फ़ायदा होता है, तो मैंने बताया कि जो है ये यूज़ करना चाहिए पीरियड टाइम।
बच्चियाँ अपनी माँ से नहीं बता पाती हैं सब चीज़ें, फ्रेंड से पूछती हैं, हो सकता है उस फ्रेंड को सही से मालूम भी ना हो, वो उस चीज़ को ना बता पाए, तो कम से कम ये है कि हमें स्कूल के थ्रू वो प्रिपेयर जानकारी मिल जाती।
मेरे टाइम में तो मम्मी ने मुझे कपड़ा ही बताया था, क्योंकि मम्मी के टाइम पे तो ये सब था ही नहीं, तो मैं जो सह गई वो अपने बच्चों को नहीं सहने देना चाह रही थी।
अगर हम आंगनवाड़ी की बात करें तो आंगनवाड़ी में हम मदर डॉटर बॉन्ड होता है, हम उसको और स्ट्रॉन्ग करने की कोशिश करते हैं।
पहले तो माँ जागरूक नहीं थी, अब जैसे ये प्रोग्राम हो रहे हैं इससे माँ जागरूक हो रहे, तो अपनी बेटी को उसी हिसाब से माँ को समझ रहे तो अपनी बेटी को समझा रही हैं।
पीएनजी प्रोग्राम के थ्रू हमको पता चलता है कि ये मतलब कैसे यूज़ किया जाता है, पैड का किस तरीके से यूज़ करना है, किस तरह से डिस्ट्रॉय करना है, और कैसे उसको मतलब कौन सी डिजीज़ होती है अगर उसको हम यूज़ ना करें।
आज किसी स्कूल में काम किया, अगर इसी स्कूल में हम 2 महीने बाद वापस आएँ तो हमें एक चेंज देखने को मिलता है, जो बच्ची हमसे बात नहीं कर रही थी वो अब हमसे खुल के बात करती है।
पीरियड तो हर महीने आते हैं, मुझे पैड की ज़रूरत हर महीने होती है, तो मैं बाज़ार से ले आती हूँ।
अगर हमें पता नहीं होता है पहले से तो हमें घबराहट होती है, इसलिए स्कूल में ज़रूरी है कि बच्चों को इस बारे में बताया जाए।
पैड से बहुत फ़ायदे हैं मैम, स्कूल भी आ सकते हैं, खेल कूद भी सकते हैं और गीलापन भी मैम नहीं लगता है, मैम अच्छे से रह सकते हैं उससे।
Leaving Kakori, we remember the faces. The voices of tomorrow, they are the bold new world they are writing a different story of freedom.
Our campaign, Period of Pride, continues to work relentlessly to secure the health and future of the girl child. Whisper and UNESCO are actively involved in developing a curriculum to present to the NCERT. As hundreds and thousands continue to join this movement, over 10 lakh people have already signed the petition to support this initiative. You too can make a difference. Log on to periodofpride.com and sign the petition.
On this note, let's strike a high note, literally. Let's welcome the now famous all-women band that sings for gender justice. Let's welcome the irrepressible singers of Meri Zindagi.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
The myths about menstruation are so largely prevalent that it forces girls to miss almost 10 to 20% of their school days. Statistics also shows that 1 out of every 5 girls drops out of school after they start their periods. Unfortunately, we as a nation are not doing enough to right this wrong. It is time to address this issue. Schools are a medium where this can all begin. Menstrual hygiene management should form an integral and important part of the school curriculum. For boys and girls, of course. Investing in menstrual health and hygiene will not only ensure that millions of girls stay in school, but also make sure that they get a dignified and healthy lives.
Menstrual cycle is something which is not dirty. It is something which is a natural phenomena. That period education is something that should be there in the schools, and so that tomorrow the girls do not drop out from school.
4-5 years back we used to be a bit shy about talking about periods, but I think it's been 4-5 years that we can openly go to the support staff and tell how we are feeling or how our body is feeling because we are down with our periods, and that has made our lives very easy. So I think it's very important to go out there and communicate and not be shy about it.
Menstrual hygiene is a matter of right and dignity, and we must break the silence around menstrual hygiene. And it is high time that we must take action by including menstrual hygiene in all the school curriculum in India. I urge all of you to support this cause and sign the petition.
I remember during my time when we were taught about menstrual health and hygiene, and we were first told about what are periods, it used to be always a girls group and then a workshop would happen. But stigma really goes if it becomes a part of curriculum in the schools where both boys and girls are taught together about periods and also about actually giving them sex education.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18. Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
मीठी मीठी सी ये मुनिया सर पे डाले है ये चुनिया क्यों, हाँ क्यों। सोड़ी सोड़ी सी कुड़ी नू मौज में रहने देना दुनिया क्यों, हाँ क्यों। है कितनी शानदार कुड़ी ये कर देगी धमाल, इससे झूमने दे अपनी बीट पे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ जमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू सारिया फिक्रां नू छड्ड के बंधन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे। वड्डी वड्डी बात तेरी, छोटी छोटी सोच क्यों है जी, ओ पाजी। उखड़े उखड़े क्यों खड़े, हंस तो हंस देगी दुनिया भी, हाँ जी। आए जो ऑन द फ्लोर कुड़ी तो खूब मचाए शोर, तू भी झूम लेना इसकी बीट पे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ जमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू सारिया फिक्रां नू छड्ड के बंधन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे। है कितनी शानदार कुड़ी ये कर देगी धमाल, इससे झूमने दे अपनी बीट पे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, ओ नचने दे। तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ जमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू सारे या फिक्रां नू छड्ड के बंधन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, ओ नचने दे। तू आज लगाने दे ठुमके, हाँ जमके, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, हाँ नचने दे। तू सारे या फिक्रां नू छड्ड के बंधन के, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे, कुड़ी नू नचने दे।
नचने दे और कुड़ी नू पढ़ने दे. Thank you, Shilpa, for lending your voice to the campaign. Every voice counts, and when young people such as you lend their voices to change, we can be confident that people will listen. And speaking of young voices, we have with us now some of the most inspiring change makers I look forward to speaking to. First up, we have with us Praveen Nikam. He is the founder of Roshni Action for Impact Foundation. He's a lawyer who has been working at the grassroots, creating measurable impact for the cause of access to sanitation and hygiene. First, here's his story.
Few people will use the phrase period man to describe their jobs. But Pune-based lawyer and activist Praveen Nikam carries the tag with pride. Nikam is the founder of Roshni Foundation, a non-profit focused on mentoring and enabling rural and urban communities on issues around menstrual hygiene awareness, WASH, gender equality and peace-building initiatives.
I'm passionate about sexual reproductive health rights, and in my small capacities I've been trying to create measurable impact to develop my capacities to voice the voiceless.
Thus, Roshni Foundation is not only removing the stigma around periods, but building community advocates who are spearheading the change among the wider society. For his immense efforts, Nikam was awarded the prestigious National Youth Award by the Government of India. His work has found appreciation by international leaders and organizations.
Please welcome Praveen Nikam from India as the Regional Representative Asia.
Praveen Nikam is truly a change maker who is bringing about a period of pride.
Praveen, please tell us about your work and your initiative.
Bhumi, it was back in 2011 when I was an engineering student. I was on a study visit to the state of Assam, and I happened to meet a young girl whose name was Roshni. This young girl was forced to leave her school because of her first period. And this incident was a milestone and was a catalyst for me to change my career decisions. I decided to leave my engineering and shift to humanities and start working for the cause of menstrual hygiene. I started an initiative called Roshni, which started reaching out to young girls in schools and later to boys to talk about menstrual hygiene, gender and sexuality. It has been 10 years. Roshni is now a group of young change makers who want to make sure that access to sanitation is universalized and young people get more awareness about it, as well as there is more acceptance about the cause. Roshni, now a part of Action for Impact Foundation, is now working with an intent to create awareness, acceptance and access for the cause of menstrual hygiene, for the cause, and making sure that policymakers consider reproductive health as an important vertical when they plan implementing policies across India.
और रोशनी के जरिए आप बहुत सारी जिंदगी को रोशन कर रहे हैं. Praveen, you also teach teachers. Are they willing to listen to you? Because they tend to skip certain chapters because it tends to be a little discomforting as far as talking about period education is concerned. How do you go about it? Do you co-opt them to teach your holistic framework?
Teachers are a major component of menstrual health and hygiene initiative in India is what I believe. If we don't count teachers, we are missing the bus. And that's the reason all our interventions were focused with teachers. My personal experience with teachers from Zilla Parishad has been great. All teachers are interested. They want more knowledge about it. They want to have necessary toolkits on how they can talk about these issues in schools. There have been challenges when it comes to the way community perceives teachers talking about these issues. But I feel it's high time. Teachers need to be given the authority to reach out to students and initiate dialogues. So as civil society, we have limited role, but we make sure that we conduct these 40 hours sessions with teachers over the period of 1 year. Usually we have small training sessions with teachers. It's a small group of 30 to 35 teachers from Zilla Parishad. Why Zilla Parishad? I feel the focus has to be on rural areas rather than cities as a part of our strategy to create awareness and to achieve some measurable impact. But yes, teachers have been very supportive. They are interested. And I feel the policymakers at the central government as well as the states need to consider them as a major frontline worker in this whole cause of creating access to sanitation and awareness as well.
So from a man on a mission, we have now a woman on a mission. She is Jafreen Akhtar. a grassroots community organizer from Assam. Her work encompasses youth leadership development, menstrual health management, and sexual and reproductive health via her venture Spread Love and Peace, a Youth Ki Awaaz Action Network fellow. She is currently working with organizations such as Leading Change Network and Har Ghar.
In the Sonitpur district of Assam, an organization called Spread Love and Peace, or SLAP, is giving women a new sense of confidence in life and within their marriages.
We are changing the narrative of via conversations by bringing back power and agency to them.
SLAP was founded by Jafreen Akhtar, a feminist grassroots community organizer from Assam. The organization works on issues like youth leadership, menstrual health management, gender justice, sexual and reproductive health, and climate change. She also works with organizations like Leading Change Network and is a Youth Ki Awaaz Action Network fellow. Akhtar engages with women who have no formal secondary education and come from extremely orthodox backgrounds. She organizes learning circles which bring women into discussion around menstruation, sex, the idea of consent, identity, and independence. By sharing stories and getting access to scientific resources, women are drawing power from Akhtar's community building initiatives. They are becoming agents of change within their households and their social circles. With love, empathy, and authenticity, Akhtar is bringing in a period of pride to her corner in Assam.
Jafreen, thank you so much. Your initiative has encouraged women across all ages to embrace menstruation and menopause as a normal part of their lives. You counter social taboos with knowledge and education. You're very young. What made you start this?
I think this is a question a lot of people ask me. Why did I start so young? For me, the idea has been very, it has not been very stable, I would say, when I began. I just began because my heart fell. So I felt like working with my community, the village that I stay in, Valipara, in the Sonitpur district of Assam. And I kept going. And eventually I think I figured out what I really wanted to do with the community in the community work that I do, and it was in terms of health. I really wanted to work in in the aspects of menstrual health, sexual health, reproductive health, and mental health, and alongside like building capacity of youths. So yeah, I think it has been a very organic process, and I did not put pressure or anything on myself. I just went ahead with what my heart felt and kept going. I don't have a logical answer to that, I would say. I have more sort of an emotional answer to that. So yeah, that's how I think I began.
Your initiative takes a very firm feminist stand. Does that sometimes make families of the girls you are reaching out to really worry?
I think that depends a lot on the approach, how we see feminism, how we see the roots of it. So our idea has been very simple. I think we really want to touch hearts of people and what they are facing and what they are struggling. We really try to understand from a community approach rather than saying, rather than being a savior of them. We can't save anybody. We can just try and understand their issues and work through it together on a community level. I think that approach has helped us also in some sort. We have never faced backlash, any sort of thing, even if it's a lot of taboo and stigma around. Even if there is a lot of stigma and taboo around the subjects that we work on, whether it be menstrual health, sexual health, or reproductive health, and mental health as well, we don't talk much about it. But I think the way we put out in ways which can, make people understand that this issue, the issues that they are going through, is not on an individual level. It's more on a systemic level, and they don't need to go through it alone. We have a community. We can build a community. We can build our power within the community to have these conversations, dialogues, and I think find not exactly solutions, but ways to cope through it. I think within the community and how we support each other. So I strongly feel that has made our collective more acceptable. Rather than going out in the field and saying that I have come to save you all, we try and understand their issues. They confront their issues to us, and that's how we try to build the community sort of together. And it's not something that we do it all alone. It's all because of the collective effort that we try to bring.
And Jafreen, any change has to begin at home. Are you able to talk to your own family? What about your friends? Are these conversations around periods open, or do you face any resistance?
Right now, I think it has been a journey for me. So, to tell you some backstory of it, I was called mad, insane, popola, kafir, all the names I have been tagged, and even worse than these, I can say. But I don't really say that these are disrespectful labels, but the way people put it is very disrespectful, and it seizes a lot of power within you. But I think, how I took that power, or how I built that power or courage within myself is just by just by doing it. I did not really say much. It has been a long journey. I think I started back in the age of 15 or 16. And then I was called these names constantly. So I kept doing it, and now I'm turning 26 very soon. I'm 25 right now. And I think the work that I do has spoken a lot, I feel. And now it has become normal. Like, we have dinner table conversations on, abortion, menstruation, sexuality. It's hard. Sometimes my parents don't really understand. But I think it's not necessary to understand all of it, but it's very necessary to empathize that we can be different. We can have, choices or passions or learnings. Those are different, but it's not necessary to, understand all of it. There is just a necessity of an acceptance. And similarly goes out with my friends. I think I talk a lot about mental health or menstrual health, but a lot of my friends do not resonate with it, especially friends whom I met in my school days, like in college days. They some of them know or knew, but my school friends did not really understand. But now they have come to a point wherein I think they say, "Jo karna hai to kar." That's your part of work. That's not our responsibility. So we just accept the way you are. I think I have come to that point now. It's not easy, but I think we just need to keep going and keep doing what we love.
Thank you so much, Praveen and Jafreen. We certainly wish you with all our hearts that together we don't leave even a single girl child behind because of stigma and silence. Joining us now is the chairman of India Sanitation Coalition, Naina Lal Kidwai. Appreciate your time here, ma'am.
So thank you so much for having me as part of this telethon, this particular initiative. It's a very important one and a very timely one, and I'm delighted to be part of it.
Ms. Kidwai, as the esteemed founding chair of the India Sanitation Coalition, you have said that women must have primary say in their water, hygiene and sanitation needs. Why, according to you, menstrual health education should be gender neutral?
Well, I can certainly tell you that in the area of sanitation, it is very important that women themselves are engaged in the process. And in fact, SBM, Swachh Bharat Mission Grameen, has done this. It has enabled and in fact guided that women be part of, for example, the village water management committees, because then they have a stake in how the water is managed in and for the community, and that is where it works best. We've also seen in sanitation how women have driven the agenda for themselves, because it's not just about being told what to do, but they drive that change. And whether it's behavior change or indeed some of the technologies and requirements that come up. And this is exactly what we need in menstrual health as well. We need women to be engaged in the process of the product, in terms of delivery, the product in terms of comfort, and the behavior change that is required by communities around us in terms of acceptance of menstrual health and women in general.
So what, according to you, is an ideal curriculum as far as menstrual hygiene management is concerned?
So an ideal curriculum has to be one which encourages the conversations around this. So at one level, the education of why this happens and the importance of understanding the biological cycle for what it is. But the other is also for women and girls to understand that they must have the conversations, discuss it with each other, and where they are uncomfortable and there are issues to do with menstrual health, they should be able to seek guidance, support, and indeed do the right thing. So education at every level, why it happens, but also how to deal with it.
Over 1 million Indians, yes, you heard me right, over 1 million Indians have already joined us to petition for mandatory periods curriculum and for progressive classroom conversation. More and more are joining in, as you can see. If you want to join us, log on or give a missed call. Details are on your screen.
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. Ek Swachh Soch to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
At 12, I asked my mother about periods. Her answer is a change in conversation. The teacher in my 8th grade biology class rushes past the chapter on reproduction. The first time I hear the word menstruation is when a stain in my underpants stares at me with zero hesitation. I am handed a box of pads, but it is too late. I have already stained my brain with stereotypes that say periods mein bahar mat jao, rasoi ke andar mat aao. Learn to hide the fact that you are a woman now. This is not just my story. While you and I may be out of school already, 1 out of 5 girls continue to drop out early. These young girls and boys deserve what we never received. An education in periods is the need. To take all that comes with womanhood in our stride, let's teach our children. Periods are not a prison, but a matter of pride.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
Welcome back, everyone. Bhumi, you know, one chapter that stood out in this entire campaign of ours was Period Ki Padhai, which you did with young girls who came from schools in metro cities and also B towns of India. आपके मुताबिक क्या डिस्टिंक्शन देखा आपने उनके अप्रोच में, जो एक बड़े शहर की बच्चियां हैं और जो छोटे शहर की बच्चियों में?
मैं कहूँगी बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्टिंक्शन था. अगर हम मेट्रो या अर्बन इंडिया की बात करें, हमारे स्कूल्स में पीरियड एजुकेशन 6th या 7th क्लास में शुरू हो जाती है. यू नो, द स्कूल दैट आई अटेंडेड, आई हैड पीरियड एजुकेशन very early on. But the schools that are in, like, you know, B-town cities or in rural India, many of these girls didn't even know कि पीरियड जैसा एक फिजियोलॉजिकल फिनोमिना है जो हर लड़की के साथ होता है. एंड दैट्स समथिंग, एंड इट वाज, यू नो, दीज कॉन्वर्जेशंस दैट रियली काइंड ऑफ स्टक बैक विद मी, एंड दैट्स व्हेन आई रियलाइज हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट मेकिंग पीरियड एजुकेशन कंपल्सरी इन स्कूल्स इज. You know, there were girls who speaking specifically about rural India and, you know, B-town India, जहाँ पे उनको ये नहीं पता था कि जब पीरियड आएंगे तब क्या करना है. वो घबरा गई थी अपने फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस के बाद. वो इतनी डर गई थी कि उन्हें ये नहीं पता था किसे बताए. और यू नो, देयर वर मेनी, जब उन्होंने अपने फैमिली में बताई वो बात, तो उनका स्कूल जाना बंद हो गया. यू नो, एज कम्पेयर टू urban India, where, you know, they kind of had the comfort. लेकिन urban India में भी मैं generalize नहीं करना चाहूँगी, क्योंकि बहुत सारी families हैं जहाँ पे अभी भी periods को बहुत stigmatize किया जाता है. And ये rightly तभी बदलेगा जब हम openly periods के बारे में बात करें. And through this entire campaign हमारी मुहिम यही रही है कि हम ये जितना भी स्टिग्मा है अराउंड पीरियड्स उसे कम करें। हमने पेरेंट्स से बात की, टीचर्स से बात की, काउंसलर्स से बात की, गर्ल्स ऑफ डिफरेंट एजेस से बात की, और हमें एक चीज़ रियलाइज़ हुई कि अब भी हमारे देश में हम पीरियड से बहुत घबराते हैं। हमने अभी भी हमारे देश की लड़कियों को वी स्टिल नॉट एम्पावर्ड देम विद द राइट टूल्स, वी स्टिल नॉट told them that okay, when you get your period you're supposed to use a sanitary napkin and it's absolutely normal and it's absolutely okay and you're not impure and you can enter a temple, you can eat certain foods, you can work out, and this was pretty much what our conversation was about.
Our initiative, Period of Pride, has consciously remained connected to school children across the country. It is their destiny and they have a critical say. Their feedback, initiatives and voices of positive disruption have been an integral part of our campaign. Going forward in that spirit, today we have Tanvi Vij and Satyam Mehta, our founders of Praakriti, which is an initiative at Amity International School, Noida, that works to promote menstrual health management. Joining us also is Pallavi Arya. She is the co-founder of Amari Foundation. Amari educates young girls and their families in Haryana about menstrual hygiene management and creates a platform for open discussions and actionable frameworks that can be implemented. We also have with us Padmini Sambashivan, principal at Wellhibs Girls School. For without teachers, no social interventions in classrooms can be complete. Padmini, coming to you first. What is your perspective with regards to menstrual hygiene management education and the girls in India's classrooms? Are our textbooks sufficient?
First of all, this is a very important part of life, not just for girls, but for the entire humanity at large. There are a lot of stigmas attached to this whole thing. And most of it is spoken in hushed tones. So it always remains, in under cover. However, all schools, most of them, do try to educate them. But if you asked me a question whether it was enough on textbooks. If that was the case, since the human race, maybe evolved, why is this natural biological process considered to be taboo? We say that all life processes are complete only if procreation is through. And menstruation is part of that biological process which actually supports procreation. Now, if that is true, then we must actually celebrate it. Instead, it is always under hushed tones. It is considered shameful. People really suffer from lack of self-esteem and dignity during those times, even to express their discomfort. So when we say about a textbook, how is it actually unfolded in a textbook is something that we have to see. Even teachers, even biology teachers, I've been a biology teacher myself and I've seen several times, people are very comfortable unfolding respiratory system and circulatory system. But if it comes to the reproductive system, people are very shy of it, shy about talking about it. They are not able to produce or, unfold a curriculum such as that in a very clinical manner. And we have given it an air of, some kind of a mysterious thing or something that is very dirty that should not be actually spoken in public, which is very, very sad and strange. It has always baffled me. And most importantly, textbook can only provide facts, but to assimilate the facts into reality and real life, we need communicators who will talk about it with the ease of any other system and also give them what is in truth that all this is about and how do they handle it. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, but simple text material will never help. It is in the attitude of each of the communicators. It is in the priority that each of us give this particular topic and the dignity it deserves that things can change for children.
Pallavi, tell us what your outreach program does in rural and remote schools.
So what we do in the beginning is we target a particular school which is in a remotest of areas. So we started on with different village clusters in Haryana. then moved on to Himachal and then to Punjab. So first I have to be an icebreaker wherein I gather them all, and it's just an interactive session. And then it's like a bit like they giggle among their friends, they laugh it off, and then once I tell them the severity about this, then they are like, yes, she's here to tell us about periods. Then towards the end of the campaign, I feel so happy that I get such a positive response from each one of them. Initially, those girls who are sitting in the crowds, wherein they just don't stand up and share their experience among all the girls present there. But then, dheere, like they just come up to me when I'm there in the school for the entire day doing my campaign in each and every class. They just come up to me and they are like, I have to ask a question. I have a problem with regard to my periods. My mother, she has period for 10 days, whereas I have it for 12 days. So yeah, I believe that the outreach was on the positive side. And apart from that, even the lack of absenteeism that was happening in the school, it got drastically reduced to a certain level, because we made sure that the napkins that we have distributed, we keep a supply of napkins in the storeroom of the schools as well. So I believe that yes, change is happening, though it's slow, but then somewhere or the other it will take its pace.
It is this dheere that change will finally happen. Satyam, you guys started Praakriti. Tell us more about it.
Praakriti is basically a social initiative taken up by the students of Amity Noida, which basically aims at promoting better menstrual health and hygiene management to women across various demographics. And we basically campaigned to promote period positivity and raised awareness in not only women but also men. So we did this by undertaking various steps spanning across activities with school-going children to participating in pad rallies, organizing pad donation drives, street plays, etc.
Ma'am, what are the other challenges to menstrual hygiene education in India?
I would say the biggest challenge is to put it on top priority. Now, I think this is a basic necessity of every woman who is in the period of those 40 years. Now, and that is the prime time of her reproductive age. And if it is not going to be addressed, and it is happening, and she's coming to that stage in school, and if this is not given priority, as it's as important as any other subject matter or co-curricular activity, because it affects her emotional well-being. So unless you put this as the foundation of mental, physical, and emotional well-being, it is about health and hygiene for every girl child here. And 250 million adolescent girls are here. And we are still not addressing this as a primary issue. We are even we have come to a level where an organization like yours has to take it up to actually put it on mainstream and say, let's talk about it when we have lived on this planet Earth for this long.
Tanvi, tell me, what was your thought process behind Praakriti and what was the support you got from your school?
So I think the sense of our thought process was that we wanted to initiate a conversation and we wanted to create an environment of openness and discussion. So we had 4 pillars under our campaign, that was health, hygiene, awareness and positivity. And through the course of our campaign, we realized that health and hygiene cannot be improved until that awareness actually comes about. So I think creating a conversation was our main goal going into this campaign. As far as our school was concerned, I think our rationale was that if students can make posters on healthy eating year long, why can we not talk to them about menstruation? And our school ended up being really supportive. We conducted 100+ activities with the students in our own school.
Pallavi, what do you think should be included in the curriculum that we are discussing about menstrual hygiene management?
There are 3 A's that surround the menstruation and the period problem. First is the lack of awareness, which these girls, they are, like I said in the beginning, that 71% of the girls, they are not even aware as to what they should do once their first period starts, like menarche, and whom should they consult, what sanitary napkin, which brand they should be choosing, how to apply it, what should be the correct size. So they are not even aware. They don't even know why this process is happening. Just there, obviously there are certain subjects like specifically biology that talks about the reproductive system, the menstruation, how it happens in a 28 day cycle, why it is happening every month. But it's just scientifically and the bookish knowledge that they get, but nobody talks to them in a way that they are actually aware about it. They are educated enough, but they're not making themselves aware about it, that why it is actually happening in the first place, or what are the taboos, what are the myths that are associated with it, and how they should be tackling it, especially with the girls who are in the village or in the remotest of areas. The second is the lack of acceptance, because there are a number of women, they feel that the subject, like altogether menstruation, is very shameful. It is not pure. The blood that excretes is something which is impure in nature. So ultimately, this whole concept needs to be changed in a way that it should be welcoming. Like, we should be happy that we are going through periods, because ultimately there are so many disorders these days that are occurring in women's body, due to which they cannot, menstruate every month. So the lack of acceptance is the second one, wherein the third one is lack of access. So even though we'll make the girls aware, even though they have accepted it, then what? Like, what is the next step to it? They are relying on ashes, cotton cloth, which is very dirty in nature. You'll be able to see, you'll be able to clean it, but ultimately, once you don't know how much of bacteria it has, how unhygienic it can be for a female's body to use it, especially during the periods. So ultimately, lack of access plays another role. So I believe the menstrual all the points that happen to be very important for each and every curriculum to obtain it in every textbook of the country, wherein everything is highlighted in a way that it is necessary for them to understand that how important it is for them to know how primary topic menstruation is, and we should not be shameful about it. But yes, we should be discussing it, interacting it with our teachers, whatever problems that are associated with it, whatever they think that is necessary for a girl should be aware about it. Each and everything should be mentioned in that.
And Padmini, what do you think could be some of the most mandatory aspects of the new menstrual hygiene management curriculum that we are discussing?
The curriculum per se is not the major issue for us today, because what is menstrual hygiene and management is the process of menstruation from time immemorial is the same. It's about prioritizing it, and it's so heartening to see young boys like Satyam in this. Hats off to this young man. So if you're talking about curriculum, first we should put it on top priority. Two, we cannot say it is only empowering girls about what this is all about, but to go one step further, ask for their feedback, provide facilities. The third is, no school or no community can put it as something that will be addressed later. Just like you want huge, scores to be reported, our kids to be outshining every other child in every other school, our alumni members doing phenomenal work, you have to support young people like, Satyam and his counterpart. You will have to push this endeavor and make it natural, because it will be accepted naturally only if the community also accepts. One is to process in the head, two is to have the emotional support, and that will come from awareness. And these little stories of Arunachalam Muruganandam, of who actually inspired Padman movie, and people like Satyam's little story of how he had to fight it out, but more people came along. Even those little anecdotes will push boys and men into accepting it. So it is not in a way, because clinically everybody knows a lot of things. It's not a big deal. But how do I process it and make it easy on myself is the bigger question. So curriculum per se, it is in the dissemination, and it is in the attitudinal change that there is a requirement of change, but not per se in the curriculum. But how you handle it and how much priority you give it in schools is very, very important. So I think schools play a very important role, and we have to take it on top priority.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights and thoughts and joining this telethon of ours. While on the subject of students, we have with us now Rishabh Shah of IIMUN. This is the world's largest youth-run organization that aims to bring the world closer the Indian way. IIMUN empowers the youth by enabling them to solve local problems at an individual level. Welcome, Rishabh. Why don't you share with us about the IIMUN partnership with the Period of Pride?
So firstly, I think Period of Pride, the initiative is fantastic. It's the need of the hour. And I think it's something that we need to do much more than just one individual campaign also. In regards to the partnership, IIMUN's been working on menstrual hygiene and so also making sure that we have a period leave policy in schools since a long period of time. And we've been trying to get schools to understand that that needs to be put in the constitution of the school. So in the school book, rule book, it should be allowed for. Not that the girl has to go to the school teacher and then, say that this is something that's happened to me. It's something that should be put as a part of the school constitution per se. So we've been working on that. So when your executive editor, Anand, basically reached out and he told me about this entire thing, I jumped at it because I said this is something that we must do. And we work with about 7,500 schools across 220 cities and 35 countries. And majorly in India, I think this is something that all schools have come forward, and many of them have actually onboarded the entire petition as a part of their school. So huge shout out to all those people who are watching this, who've contributed.
Thank you for joining us, Rishabh, and sharing your understanding of what all Period of Pride has done with you.
Over 1 million Indians have already joined us to petition for mandatory periods curriculum and for progressive classroom conversation. I don't know, what are you waiting for? Please come and join us. All the details are on your screen.
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. Ek Swachh Soch to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
अब सबके पीरियड्स आते हैं, मेरे पीरियड्स आते हैं, किस किस के पीरियड्स आते हैं? सबके पीरियड्स आते हैं। अब आप मेरे को बताओ कि पीरियड्स को हम और किस किस नाम से बोलते हैं? ऋतुस्राव, पीरियड्स, मेंसेस, मेंस्ट्रुएशन, डेट्स, चम्स और स्टार्टिंग में आपने बताया था ऋतुस्राव, मासिक धर्म तो होता ही है। तो अब यहाँ पे आप देखो 20 crore girls drop out of school during their periods. It is something which is very serious. So we basically started targeting village clusters, not only in areas of Haryana, but we even went up to Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, wherein we did certain campaigns. हमने फिर उनको क्या किया? Distribution के साथ साथ we even started awareing them about what is menstruation, periods, taboos associated. School level पे जहाँ पे हम सारी चीज़ें सीखते हैं, जहाँ पे हम हर एक subject को सीखते हैं, जहाँ पे हम बोलना सीखते हैं चीज़ों को लेके. I think this is something which is necessary so that there is no ashamed discussion over a topic of menstruation and people are carefree talking about and not treating it as a disorder.
इन लोगों ने बच्चों को अच्छी तरह से प्रॉपरली समझाया, सेल्फ हाइजीन के बारे में बताया और बच्चों को सैनिटरी नैपकिन यूज़ करने के तरीके बताए। तो हमारी गर्ल्स के लिए ये बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है।
Amari, behind the name is Miracle of God, which I believe every woman in the country is. So the name was itself, the work that we are doing for the girls in need is itself a miracle of God that is happening.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
Welcome back to Whisper Presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18. We are here with the policy makers, activists, change makers, schools and influencers to fight for the 2.3 crore girls who drop out of school every year due to shame and lack of information surrounding their periods or lack of sanitary products, which have no priority in the budget of their families. They don't know how to learn about it because school tends to skip puberty-related lessons. They cannot even ask for support from their parents because they lack the courage and the language. To end the silence, to mandate a curriculum, to renew our learning and understanding, to make this crisis a national level conversation, we have come together. However, starting a conversation is not easy. The social barriers are acute. That is where influencer voices come in.
Absolutely, Bhumi. Thank you so much. We have now Neha Dhupia. Neha, what is your message to India to make periods a drawing room conversation? Like any other personal hygiene conversation, how do you normalize this subject to take away that shame?
I feel like this has been my message. I have been talking for so long. This has been my message to India. Let's normalize the conversation around periods. Let's not make it a big deal. Let's understand that, you know, a woman goes through this once a month, and, you know, we need to normalize the fact that somebody in the room or somebody around us has got their period. You don't need to shy away from it. The most important thing is education around it. It's such an important part of your personal hygiene, and we've got to respect the girl in the house. We've got to respect the woman in the house and provide her in whatever means that you have with the right kind of sanitary napkins to be able to use when she gets her period, B, the right kind of education to make her aware that she is going to get her period. See, and most importantly, just make sure that it is something that is gender neutral. Like, she shouldn't be somebody who's made to sit in one corner. And please, let's just get together as a nation. If this message is for the country, let's just make this a myth-busting exercise that it's okay to be eating everything. It's not like you can't eat pickle, or you can't eat tamarind, or you can't eat a particular thing, or you can't exercise, or you can't use the same toilets as everybody else, or, you know, even or girls need to drop out of school just because they get their period, or they can't go to some places that are considered, you know, a little more sacred than the other. Let's not do that at all. Let's be open to the fact that it is the most normal thing that happens to us. Let's be open to the fact that we're going to talk about it a lot more. Let's be open to the fact that, you know, there are men and women who live together, and 50% of your household gets their periods once in a month, and let's be open to it.
Let's be open to it, certainly. Joining us now is Jonita Gandhi. We have all been mesmerized by her voice before, and today she is here to lend her voice for Period of Pride. Welcome, Jonita. Please tell us about your first period story.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy that more people are taking initiatives like you guys are, and doing something about this, what I would consider a problem, that not enough people are open talking about periods when it's such a natural thing. And it's obviously causing a lot of people to fall behind, you know, with schooling and everything as well. And for me, I remember my first period was in grade 7, so I think I was about 12. And I was terrified, but I remember I think all my friends had already gotten their periods. So luckily I had the support system that was my friends. They were all kind of like telling me what their first periods were like. And it happened at school. And luckily I had friends who had pads with them, so I could borrow one. But of course it was nerve-wracking. I grew up outside of India, so it might have been a little bit different, but it's still, no matter where you are, I feel there is a huge stigma attached to the word period and menstruation. So I remember like carrying a pad for me also was like this embarrassing thing, or having to go and buy a pad or borrow one or whatever. Like I just didn't want to have, I didn't want to be seen with it in public. And that from then till now has changed a lot, fortunately for me, and I hope that has changed for a lot of people. So,
and we all have our own embarrassing period stories, Jonita, but there's something comforting in knowing that even the most successful among us have dealt with same issues. What would you like to tell the young girls, adolescents watching this?
I'm really happy that this topic is coming up more now than ever, because it's such a natural thing. I mean, like you said, every single woman on the planet deals with this. It's so normal. I would like to tell all the youth out there to talk about it more, to not be shy, to ask questions, and to encourage their friends, whether they're girls or boys, to accept it as a topic of discussion. Because the more we talk about it, the more we learn about it, and the less we fear it. And there's nothing to fear.
Was period education a part of your curriculum abroad? And how do you think it has really helped shape minds of young people like you?
So period and puberty management was definitely part of the curriculum in which I studied here in Canada. And so was sex health education. So all of these topics were covered. And I do think that it was a big reason why I've personally grown up a little bit more comfortable than maybe your average person in India to talk about menstruation, sexual health, things like that. And I think that the more people that can get access to that kind of education, the less of a problem period management will be across the board.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jonita, for joining the telethon of Period of Pride Ek Swachh Soch. Now we have with us Priya Dutt from Mumbai, a former lawmaker and a social worker. Priya, thousands of girls drop out of school each year due to lack of understanding. The silence and discomfort around periods is certainly disturbing. In your political work, you have seen this period of negativity in slums and high rises, villages and cities alike. How has governance over the last 70 years addressed this? Or like everything else, governance and policy also has gender bias, and somewhere this critical issue related to girls' education has got lost.
For the last 70 years, I think governance hasn't given that much importance to women or the girl child. I think there have been more pressing issues for the country for them. But we are here today, and it's really disheartening to see that even now, while we are in the 21st century, we are still struggling and trying to make films like this to educate our children about periods, about puberty, about menstruation. And I think it is very important that government today comes into action against this. I remember when I was Member of Parliament, we had a huge campaign for distribution of sanitary napkins in villages. You know, we have midday meals for children in our schools. Why shouldn't we be distributing sanitary napkins? Why shouldn't we be educating girls when they hit puberty about their bodies, about how normal it is to menstruate, how to keep yourself clean? All these issues have to be addressed by the government to create an awareness.
Priya, what will be your message to the girls about using pads, not cloth, that leads to disease, to not drop out of schools, or even more importantly, that they miss classes during periods?
We need to ensure that the girls in our country have access to pads freely so that the dropout rates from school are also lowered. I see many girls dropping out because of lack of toilets. When they have their periods 5 or 7 days, they do not come to school because for them it's a shameful thing. It doesn't need to be that. It's a very normal thing for a girl to go through this. That is part of growing up. That is part of becoming a woman. And we must be proud of it. I think a collaboration with the government, with the people, with the NGOs working together, we can overcome this. We need to work together for it.
Thank you, Priya. Dream big, achieve big. Our next guest quite literally exemplifies that statement. Manya Singh, the VLCC Femina Miss India 2020 runner-up, is joining me now. She has clearly inspired many young girls from across the country to follow their dreams. Manya, tell us about your own experience with menstruation. Were there obstacles when you were growing up? Did you see your peers in particular face certain difficulties?
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really grateful to be here today and talking about this topic, which is really close to my heart. You know, I come from a very small village in Uttar Pradesh. When I had my first experience, I didn't even know what is sanitary napkin and how do we use it. I didn't have the basic knowledge. Still, in rural and urban areas, we treat this menstruation as a taboo. We are not allowed to speak up. We are not allowed to discuss amongst our family if we are facing an issue. We have to keep this pain with us. You know, still women use old reused clothes and dust, which is not good for our health. So there were so many restrictions. When I was a child, I used to see my elder sisters getting dropped out during those days from the school. And I used to think, why is this happening? When I grew up, I realized that this is not just one restriction which we have to face. There are so many restrictions. We are not allowed to enter in temple. We are not allowed to go in kitchen. We are not allowed to touch pickle. And we are not, the worst thing that we are not allowed to speak about it. We have to keep with ourselves. We have to hide it. This is really painful thing because, you know, we have to accept it. This is not something that, oh, it's a shameful thing. No, leaders bleed. And we had that courage to still stand with the strength which we carry. Because our power is women, because we are women.
As a role model of India's youngsters, what would you like to say to young India about normalizing conversation about periods?
I just want to say each and every girl out there that getting period is not a shameful thing. It's a part of your biological body. You should accept it with strength because that's your power. Leaders bleed. And also I would like to focus on that menstrual hygiene topic and also sex education should be included in our syllabus so that people will have that knowledge that this is not a taboo. We can make it taboo-free together. You know, people will also understand this thing that menstrual is not a problem. Menstrual hygiene is the problem. Menstruation is something that it's a natural thing. And if we will make this journey easy, she will stand tomorrow with strength, without any fear, and she can discuss it without hiding this as a secret. She will accept herself with pride.
Thank you, Manya. It was a pleasure listening to you and we wish you all the very best for the future. On this final journey, Whisper and UNESCO are collaborating on a curriculum to be presented to the NCERT. By supporting this petition, you will help keep our girls in schools. There are many who are joining us to make this a movement. Over 10 lakh people have signed the petition already to include this curriculum in schools across India. And as more and more people join this movement, you too can make a difference by signing the petition at periodofpride.com.
Education, a fundamental right to every Indian. Yet 1 in 5 girls drop out of school on account of their period. Network 18 and Whisper launched Period of Pride. Ek Swachh Soch to spread awareness about menstrual health and hygiene management. Over 1 million people have already joined the movement. It's time for you to sign the petition to make period education a mandatory part of the school curriculum. Log on to www.periodofpride.com or give us a missed call on 99996 71283.
हम क्यों चुप रहे और इसे छुपाते रहे? मासिक धर्म एक औरत के, एक स्त्री के सामान्य गतिविधि ही तो है।
We are Team Praakriti and menstruation matters.
Every other problem is acknowledged by society as a problem and society makes an effort to work towards it. However, when we talk about menstruation, its very existence is not acknowledged by society. What are mere statistics and numbers for us are affecting women's life in a very, very real way every day. So we started Praakriti in an effort that no other girl from our generation will have to suffer any medical problems that might stem from the ignorance that comes from the taboos.
Being a boy, I was bullied and teased a lot during the start of this initiative, and I knew that that was the problem that had to change. Once we went through with the initiative, once we conducted a variety of activities with different classes, a lot of boys showed up for volunteering, and the boys who were actually teasing me before, they actually signed up to be the head volunteers for Praakriti.
One way we connected with the youth was through video games. But it's an educational experience because you're being rewarded with information. So in the game, you kill a certain number of crap monsters and you're rewarded with a hot water bottle.
The school, of course, they gave us a platform. They allowed us to conduct activities with the students, and they allowed us to conduct activities with students as young as 4th graders.
I think that I am really, really proud to be one of the founding members of the Praakriti, and especially being a boy. When people saw that even a boy was talking about this so freely, they became more and more motivated, and even they understood that this was not a topic to be ashamed of, and anyone could talk about this freely.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by Network 18.
At 12, I asked my mother about periods. Her answer is a change in conversation. The teacher in my 8th grade biology class rushes past the chapter on reproduction. The first time I hear the word menstruation is when a stain in my underpants stares at me with zero hesitation. I am handed a box of pads, but it is too late. I have already stained my brain with stereotypes that say periods mein bahar mat jao, rasoi ke andar mat aao. Learn to hide the fact that you are a woman now. This is not just my story. While you and I may be out of school already, 1 out of 5 girls continue to drop out early. These young girls and boys deserve what we never received. An education in periods is the need. To take all that comes with womanhood in our stride, let's teach our children. Periods are not a prison.
ओरी चिड़ैया, नन्ही सी चिड़िया, अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. For this inspiring rendition, let's go over to none other than Harshdeep Kaur.
ओरी चिड़ैया, नन्ही सी चिड़िया, अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. ओरी चिड़ैया, नन्ही सी चिड़िया, अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. अंधियारा है घना और लहू से सना, किरणों के तिनके अंबर से चुन के, अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. हमने तुझ पे हजारों सितम है किए, हमने तुझ पे जहां भर के जुल्म किए. हमने सोचा नहीं तू जो उड़ जाएगी, ये ज़मीं तेरे बिन सूनी रह जाएगी. किसके दम पे सजेगा मेरा अंगना. ओरी चिड़ैया, मेरी चिड़ैया, अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. अंगना में फिर आ जा रे. अंगना में फिर आ जा रे.
अंधेरे से बाहर लाने की जिम्मेदारी हम सब पर है और इसीलिए सरकार भी उसी दिशा में काम कर रही है। Joining us now is Union Health Minister Mansukh Mandavia. Our Managing Editor Bihar and Gujarat Brajesh Singh is in conversation with the minister.
भारत में 100 में से 23 लड़कियां menstrual hygiene यानी मासिक धर्म के बारे में भ्रांतियों को लेकर जो है स्कूल छोड़ देती हैं। यह जो है सो एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है। देश में इस पर नेटवर्क 18 और विस्पर ने मिलकर पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड कैंपेन चलाया है। इरादा ये है कि इससे जागरूकता फैले, न सिर्फ उन लड़कियों में बल्कि उनके पेरेंट्स में, शिक्षकों में, ताकि इस इशू को एड्रेस किया जा सके और इस बारे में तमाम भ्रांतियों को दूर किया जा सके। इसी सिलसिले में केंद्रीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्री मनसुख मांडविया के पास हैं, जो कि इस दिशा में ऑलरेडी पहले से काफ़ी अधिक काम कर रहे हैं। मनसुख भाई, सबसे पहले तो स्वागत है। और
जी नमस्ते।
आपसे पहला प्रश्न ये होगा मेरा, जो मूल समस्या है कि क्या इस बारे में जो जागरूकता है ख़ासतौर पे ग्रामीण इलाकों में, इसको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, चूँकि आपका रिकॉर्ड है, आप लंबे समय से इस पे काम करते रहे हैं, तो क्या ऐसे स्टेप्स लेने चाहिए ताकि जैसे एक तरफ जो स्कूल ड्रॉप आउट जो है ख़ासतौर पे लड़कियों का, उसको रोक सकें। जो अर्ली मैरिजेस कई बार इस तरीके से होते हैं, चूँकि आप इस तरह के हाइजीन के बारे में जानकारी नहीं है, कई सारी भ्रांतियाँ हैं, स्कूल छोड़ देती हैं बच्चियाँ, उनकी शादी जल्दी हो जाती है। तो ऐसे कौन से स्टेप्स हैं जो कि लिए जा सकते हैं, जो कि बहुत ज़रूरी हैं और जिसके सहारे जो है इस इशू को और बेहतर ढंग से टैकल किया जा सकता है?
पहली बात तो ये है कि क्यों ये जैसा हमें भूख लगती है, हमें प्यास लगती है, ऐसे ही महिला की सहज क्रिया है। उसके लिए डिबेट नहीं हो सकती है क्या? फैमिली में उसके लिए डिबेट नहीं हो सकती है क्या? क्या टीचर्स अपने स्टूडेंट के साथ इस विषय के लिए बात नहीं कर सकते हैं क्या? मुझे लगता है कि ये करना चाहिए। इसलिए करना चाहिए कि हर साल 72,000 72,000 महिलाएं आज इस टाइप के डिसीज़ से, सर्वाइकल डिसीज़ से उसका मृत्यु होता है, हमारे लिए कलंक है। और स्वस्थ समाज को निर्माण करना है तो स्वस्थ समाज बनाना होगा। महिला में भी, पुरुष में भी, सभी में हेल्थ अवेयरनेस होनी चाहिए। इट इज़ वन पार्ट ऑफ हेल्थ अवेयरनेस। और इसके लिए ग्रामीण क्षेत्र हो, शहरी क्षेत्र हो, गरीब हो, अमीर हो, झोपड़ी में भी, महल में भी उसका इस्तेमाल होना चाहिए। और ये इस्तेमाल करने के लिए व्यापक तौर पर ये बहस, मुझे खुशी की बात यह है कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री रेड फोर्ट से महिला की चिंता करते हैं और वो रेड फोर्ट से कहते हैं कि ये हमारी जिम्मेवारी है, हमें देश की महिलाओं का अच्छा स्वास्थ्य के लिए सैनिटरी पैड महिला को मिले, उसके लिए प्रयास करना चाहिए। छोटी बात नहीं है। जब मोदी जी ने हमें शौचालय में टॉयलेट जाना चाहिए इसी बात कही थी, तो कई लोगों ने उसके ऊपर बहस की थी कि प्रधानमंत्री रेड फोर्ट से टॉयलेट की बात कर रहे हैं। आज वो चर्चा बनी सोसाइटी में और घर घर में टॉयलेट बन गया। कितना हाइजेनिक काम हुआ है। ऐसा ही ये विषय पर व्यापक तौर पर चर्चा होनी चाहिए, सभी लेवल पर चर्चा होनी चाहिए। और उसमें मैंने देखा है, ये केवल सरकार करे नहीं होगा, सोशल मूवमेंट होनी चाहिए। उसमें जैसा आपने ये अभियान उठाया, मुझे अच्छा लगा, ऑफ menstruation,
पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड,
तो ये अच्छा इतना अभियान आपने उठाया है। आपने अपना दायित्व निभाया है, क्योंकि आप मीडिया है और मीडिया का एक्सेस आज गांव तक पहुंच गया है। तो जो काम आप कर रहे हैं, जो काम मोदी जी कर रहे हैं, वो काम हम कर रहे हैं, वो काम समाज के कई NGO कर रहे हैं, ये काम समाज के कोटि कोटि लोग करेंगे, तब हम सक्सेस होंगे। और मुझे विश्वास है कि हम उसमें सक्सेस होकर रहेंगे।
मनसुख भाई, नेटवर्क 18 और विस्पर ने जो कैंपेन किया है पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड, जिसका आपने जिक्र किया, उस कैंपेन के तहत देश भर से हमें 10 लाख से भी ज़्यादा पिटीशन इस बात के लिए मिले हैं कि यह जो मेंस्ट्रुअल हाइजीन का जो इशू है, मासिक धर्म के बारे में जो जागरूकता जो है फैलाने वाली बात है, इसको जो है बाकायदा जो हमारे स्कूलों के, कॉलेजों के जो पाठ्यक्रम है उसका अनिवार्य हिस्सा बनाया जाए, ताकि इस बारे में भ्रांतियाँ जो होती हैं उसको दूर किया जा सके। क्या आप इस बारे में कोशिश करेंगे कि इस तरह की चीज़ जो है हमारे एजुकेशनल करिकुला का हिस्सा बन पाए, जो हेल्थ से जुड़ा हुआ इतना महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दा है?
ये तो अभी आपके पास 10 लाख इनपुट्स आए हैं ना, और ज़्यादा आएंगे। ये विषय ही ऐसा है और सभी को उसमें अपना सुझाव देना ही चाहिए। और जितनी आपकी मूवमेंट जैसे जैसे आगे बढ़ती जाएगी, लोग उसके साथ जुड़ते जाएंगे। आपने कहा कि क्या सिलेबस का पार्ट बन सकता है, मेरी कमेंट ये है कि पब्लिक अवेयरनेस, पब्लिक कैंपेन, लोक जागृति, लोक शिक्षण, इट्स वन टाइप ऑफ एजुकेशन एल्सो। ये भी पाठ्यक्रम भी एक एजुकेशन है, उसमें तो आएंगे ही आएंगे। आज कई चीज़ों में आपने देखा होगा, कोई नई बात होती है तो हम अपेक्षा करते हैं कि पाठ्यक्रम में सिलेबस में आए। तो सिलेबस कितना होगा, उसमें से सिलेबस के लिए जितना भी पार्ट आ सके सिलेबस में ही आएंगे, वो इनफ नहीं होगा। लेकिन ये लोक शिक्षण व्यापक स्तर पर हो, यही मुझे लगता है कि उसका एक बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन है। सिलेबस प्लस लोक शिक्षण, ये दोनों को इकट्ठा करना होगा। सिलेबस का केवल पार्ट बन जाने से नहीं चलेगा। और जिस तरह से हिंदुस्तान में कई ऐसे अचीवमेंट हमने अचीव किए हैं कि जो लोक शिक्षण से हम उसमें सक्सेस रहे, वैसे ही उसमें लोक शिक्षण से और सिलेबस दोनों को साथ में करके हम सक्सेस बन सकते हैं।
आपने कहा कि मास मूवमेंट इस बारे में निभाने की ज़रूरत है और मास मूवमेंट क्रिएट करने की ज़रूरत है। इसमें जो है आप जो पेरेंट्स हैं, ख़ासतौर पे जो लड़कियों के माता पिता हैं या फिर जो टीचर्स हैं, उनके रोल को कितना इम्पोर्टेंट आप मानते हैं और उनसे आप क्या अपील करना चाहेंगे?
मैं ये रोल को बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट मानता हूँ। घर में माता को अपनी बेटी के साथ बात करनी चाहिए। घर में हम क्या ऐसा एटमॉस्फेयर क्रिएट नहीं कर सकते, सारा फैमिली साथ में बैठे हो, आज क्या स्थिति है, ये स्थिति से हमें बाहर आना है। आज कोई बेटी पीरियड में आई है तो स्कूल में जाने के लिए संकोच करती है। क्या स्कूल के टीचर उसको कहे कि ये सहज क्रिया है, उसमें कोई चिंता करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है। और कई स्कूल में मैंने देखा है जो महिला टीचर होती है उसको एजुकेट करती है, उसके लिए सैनिटरी पैड की व्यवस्था करती है, ये उसकी भूमिका है। उसके लिए आज कई जगह पे हिंदुस्तान में ये बात आती है कि वो मंदिर पे नहीं जा सकती है, वो पीरियड में आई है तो घर की कोई चीज़ खाना नहीं पका सकते हैं, खाना बिगड़ जाएगा, दूषित हो जाएगा। ये माइंडसेट से हमें बाहर लाना है सोसाइटी को। दूर सुदूर जनता के बीच में जाके, फैमिली के बीच में जाके, महिला के बीच में जाके, उसमें मेरा क्लियर मानना है कोई महिला स्वैच्छिक संगठन उसके लिए काम करे इनफ नहीं है, हम सबको काम करना पड़ेगा।
आपने कहा कि परिवार वालों का रोल बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है, उन सबको साथ बैठ के इस पर बात करनी चाहिए। लेकिन शिक्षक जो कि पढ़ाते हैं, चूँकि पाठ्यक्रम में थोड़ा बहुत हिस्सा है इसका, लेकिन यहाँ तक कि शिक्षक भी इस चीज़ की चर्चा करने से क्लास में ही चकते हैं, उनमें भी एक टैबू है। इसको कैसे एड्रेस किया जाए? ऐसे शिक्षकों से आप क्या अपील करना चाहेंगे?
मेरी स्पष्ट अपील है, ये कोई बुरा काम तो है नहीं, ये तो हेल्थ से जुड़ा हुआ काम है, सहज क्रिया है। और उसमें शिक्षकों को इनफॉर्मल क्लास जब चलता हो, या तो आगे पीछे आपका समय निकाल के भी स्टूडेंट के साथ बातचीत करनी चाहिए, अवेयरनेस के लिए उसको समझाना चाहिए। और अपने स्कूल में भी उसके लिए एक अवेयरनेस सेंटर भी शुरू करना चाहिए। और इस तरह से काम करके वो अपने स्वयं को पहले एक्सेस करे स्टूडेंट तक, बच्चियों तक, कि ये करना है, ये करने से ये फ़ायदा है, ये सैनिटरी पैड का ये उपयोग है, इससे आपकी ज़िंदगी बच सकती है, उससे आपकी हेल्थ ठीक हो सकती है। ये कौन बोलेंगे? एक फैमिली बोल सकती है। दूसरा, स्टूडेंट का सबसे, कोई भी बालक है या तो स्टूडेंट है, सबसे पहला उसका शिक्षण होता है अपने घर में और दूसरा शिक्षण होता है अपने स्कूल में। ये दो ही सबसे बड़ा प्लेटफॉर्म है। और आपने बहुत अच्छी बात छेड़ी है, दोनों विषय को पकड़ा है कि घर में क्या हो सकता है, घर में फैमिली के साथ बातचीत होनी चाहिए। और दूसरा, स्टूडेंट के साथ सेकेंडरी स्कूल, हायर सेकेंडरी या तो कॉलेज, उसमें उसके प्रोफेसर, उसके टीचर्स बच्चियों के साथ बातचीत करें, उसको सहयोगी बने, वो जनता के बीच में भी एक्सेस हो। वो केवल बच्चियों को, स्टूडेंट को तो अवेयर करे ही करे, लेकिन शिक्षक गांव में रहता है और शिक्षक की भी समाज में एक बहुत बड़ी इज्जत होती है। वो खुल के बोलेंगे तो समाज पर उसकी इफेक्ट भी होगी। ये हमें कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव प्रयास करना होगा।
आखिरी सवाल जो आपसे, जो कि संदेश के तौर पे हम आपसे लेना चाहेंगे कि नेटवर्क 18 विस्पर का जो ये कैंपेन है पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड, एक स्वस्थ सोच, इसके बारे में आपका संदेश।
पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड एक बहुत अच्छी टीवी 18 की सोच है। और जब से मैंने समाचार, जब आपने मुझे दिया कि इस विषय पर मैं इंटरव्यू करना चाहता हूँ, मुझे अच्छा लगा और आपका इंटरव्यू सब देखे। और मेरा तो आग्रह है कि देखने के बाद जो लोग देख ले, वो ये बात 10-10 लोगों को और पहुंचाए, और 10 लोगों को पहुंचे और वो 10 लोगों को पहुंचाए। देखो, ये धीरे धीरे शॉर्ट टाइम में ये आपका कैंपेन एक घर घर तक गुंज जाएगा।
धन्यवाद मनसुख भाई। ये थे केंद्रीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्री मनसुख भाई मांडविया, जो कि पहले से ही इस दिशा में काफ़ी बेहतर काम कर रहे हैं। यूनिसेफ ने ऑलरेडी इनके काम को रिकग्नाइज किया है और आगे भी इनकी इस मुहिम को आगे लेकर जाने की योजना है। और जो खासतौर पर नेटवर्क 18 विस्पर का जो कैंपेन है, पीरियड ऑफ प्राइड एक स्वस्थ सोच, उसके बारे में लोगों को उन्होंने कहा है कि और इस दिशा में सार्थक ढंग से चलें, इस कैंपेन के साथ जुड़ जाएं।
A big thank you to the Health Minister for joining us on this telethon. Moving on now, Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch lives with a call to action. That period education be made compulsory in our schools so that millions of girls do not drop out for lack of understanding of menstrual health management and empowerment. Already, 1 million Indians have signed the petition. More are joining in. So what is the road ahead? What is the roadmap in terms of policy, infrastructure and implementation? To understand that, let's go over to Akhil Meshram. He is Senior Director, Category Leader, Feminine Care, Indian Subcontinent at Procter & Gamble. Nicole Bella is Senior Education Specialist, Head of Education Unit, UNESCO Delhi. And Shireen Bhan, the graceful Managing Editor of CNBC Television 18. Thank you so much for being a part of this telethon. Akhil, thousands of girls drop out of school each year due to lack of period awareness. To what extent a mandated menstrual health curriculum in schools can help?
Education is key to enable girls to become strong women, to make positive difference in the world. When 2.3 crore girls drop out of the school every year, it means that we have 2.3 crore less promising futures. If a girl is unprepared for her period, her well-being and her potential will be affected. That's how crucial period education is. Consider this: if every month a girl misses 5 days of school, the missed school starts to add up, leaving her unable to cope up with the school work, and which will slowly ebb away her confidence, and eventually which will lead out to her dropping out of the school. Their dream of becoming a change maker will remain unfulfilled. Therefore, it is absolutely crucial and critical for us to go back to the point where it all started, which is at the onset of the puberty. Economic emancipation of the women begins with education, and we know that one of the leading reasons for girls dropping out of the school is the lack of good quality period protection and education. Therefore, we cannot underscore the importance of having puberty and period education integrated into the school curriculum. We believe it is absolutely important to not only just normalize period, but also have a structured education module as part of the school to open up to have an open and free discussion. This will enable us to bring both boys and girls in period conversation early on. Educating both the sexes on the period can not only help in bringing a revolutionary change which is needed as the perception of the period, but also plays a very important role in gender equity as well. Being force for the female good, our goal is to support and encourage every girl in India to unleash her potential and enable her to be unstoppable even during her period. To be enabled to be deliberate on our effort to drive period education and keep girls in the school, Whisper has partnered with UNESCO to integrate period education in the school curriculums. We believe in girls' right to period education, not just to educate her, but to empower her for life. With this support and encouragement, girls can grow up to become strong and confident women.
Shireen, as a senior media person and with so many years of interaction with people from almost every part of India, how do you think menstrual health management should pan out not only in our education policy, but also as a part of our general well-being?
We just have to ensure that we talk about it. We talk about it within our families, we talk about it with our friends, with our peers, we talk about it here on mainstream television channels. It is not a taboo. It is nothing to be ashamed of. There is no need for that nudge, nudge, wink, wink every time you have to talk about a period, or you face a situation where you might get your period while you're at work. I mean, this is part of normal life, and normalizing the conversation, I think, is something that the media needs to do a lot more of. And I hope that through this initiative and through this campaign, Network 18 is certainly, taking that effort forward.
Nicole, what according to you is the way forward? Your closing statement for this campaign.
In line with the UN commitment expressed in the SDG 4 on inclusive, equitable and quality education for all, and SDG 5 about empowerment of girls and women and gender equality, the immediate impact that we hope to have via the development of all these modules on menstrual hygiene management and puberty education will be to integrate them into the mainstream curriculum as well as into textbooks, in methods, in teachers and special teachers training programs, including menstrual hygiene management in the core curriculum is essential, as it is a major step to ensuring that all girls, including those with disabilities in India, are able to attend school safely and in a well-being, and that learning never stops.
Akhil, come in on this. Tell us about Whisper's partnership with UNESCO and the vision forward.
So, Whisper with UNESCO stands strong as a force for female growth to impact the lives of the young girl and achieve 100% menstrual hygiene adoption in India. Through our joint forces, we believe that the impact will be multifold. Some of the key areas which we are working together are making puberty and period education India's priority. We are aiming not just to drive awareness about the importance of period education and protection through this partnership, but to make a real on-ground change. Currently, we are working with UNESCO to develop and integrate a period education module across school curriculum in India. We are also working to make sure we work towards 100% menstrual hygiene. Our multi-pronged approach involves multiple stakeholders, including state governments, individuals, and NGOs who can help us make 100% menstrual hygiene adoption a reality in India. We are in the middle of developing a very robust and a long-term plan to enable period education across India, empowering young girls to unleash their full potential. And through our efforts with UNESCO, Maria, our aim is to ensure that young girls do not drop out of the school and continue with their education. It is critical to empower them with period protection and education to ensure period do not come in their way of their futures, and so that UNESCO and Whisper can really and truly stand as a force for female growth and impact their lives.
Shireen, Akhil and Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. Bhumi, we cannot reiterate or emphasize enough to say how important it is to have that conversation, to normalize that conversation, isn't it? What's one particular thought that you would like to leave our viewers with?
I think the biggest thought that I want the audience to be left with is that don't be scared of the word periods. It is something very normal. You know, if you are somebody who comes from a privileged family, and if you are somebody who's always had the comfort and never had to deal with any bias, make sure that the people around you have a similar life like yours. Go educate them, go spread your knowledge, go help a family who maybe does not have access to menstrual hygiene. Go help a family, go help a girl by giving her a sanitary napkin. Go help her by educating her parents and letting them know that, listen, it's okay. She should have a safe environment where she can come and tell you her problems. You should not deprive her of her opportunities. And I feel that will be my last and final message. I really hope that, you know, the next time we have this telethon and all the years that follow after this, our movement only becomes stronger, and we can proudly say that, you know, we have created an environment that is safe for our girls even when they are on their periods.
Joining us now on this telethon is the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma.
I am happy to learn that Whisper and Network 18 have been engaged in garnering more than 10 lakhs petition for the Periods of Pride initiative to raise awareness about the need of period education in our school. It is alarming that thousands of girls drop out of school each year due to lack of periods awareness. I am proud to say that Assam is a state where we celebrate periods. It has been a customary practice in our society to institute Tuloni Biya when a girl first attains puberty. I am happy that this is so aptly portrayed in the documentary prepared by Whisper and Network 18. It is time we make periods a drawing room conversation like any other personal hygiene conversation, to take away the shame associated to it. Boys and men need to know about periods as much as girls do. Hence, I would urge upon the teachers and guardians to be progressive in their approach and make sure both genders are taught about the adolescent health. This is a national issue. We must eliminate the taboo about periods and save millions of India's daughters and ensure their education is not affected. We must make the movement popular. Let us join Period of Pride, एक SOS, APNG, Whisper and Network 18 initiative.
हेमंता जी, हमसे जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Let's welcome now Rajesh Kumar Sharma. He is the Secretary School, Education and Literacy Development in Jharkhand. Mr. Sharma, 2.3 crore girls drop out of school every year due to shame, lack of knowledge as to how to manage them in a hygienic way, and lack of sanitary products as well. In an effort to help these young girls achieve their full potential, we here at Network 18 and also Whisper have embarked on the Period of Pride campaign. The campaign strives to bring menstrual hygiene management to the forefront. Could you tell us what initiatives have been taken by your state in this regard to retain girls in school?
So let me start by congratulating Network 18 and Whisper for starting this campaign. This is a very timely intervention. There are different departments which are working for this, and the fact remains that despite the programs of different departments, there are many girl child who actually go out of school because of this menstrual health cycle, health issues. But I can tell you that not only the school education department, but sanitation mission under Swachh Bharat mission as well as health department has taken several initiatives for solving this out. Health department has started distribution of sanitary pad in the school girls. Unfortunately, because of COVID, when the schools were closed, perhaps the distribution got a bit delayed, but now it is again going to happen. And school education department also makes sure that the curriculum has some sort of information regarding the menstrual health. These are the three departments which are working hand in hand for spreading awareness regarding menstrual health.
Mr. Sharma, effective menstrual hygiene is vital to the health, dignity, empowerment, and of course mobility of these young girls. Experts are saying that introducing menstrual hygiene management as a compulsory series of lessons in schools will go a long way in addressing this crisis. Would the Jharkhand government consider such a step?
Really a very timely question. I think not only girls but the entire society needs to be made aware regarding the menstrual health issues. It's not only about the girls, the boys in the school should also know that what is the menstrual health cycle, so that the same associated with this menstrual health should go away. Like we all need to eat, sleep or drink, similarly all female body requires this menstrual cycle. We would certainly consider including some of the component of menstrual health cycle in our curriculum as well as in the libraries in the school. We'll make sure that libraries of the school have some information regarding menstrual health. I think under sanitation mission, with the help of UNICEF, they have produced some very good books. Earlier also these books were distributed in the school. We'll make sure that those books are there and they are used also by the children, school going children, so that the taboo actually which is linked with menstrual health issues should go away.
Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for that commitment. Could you give us more clarity as to how your government is planning to go ahead with it?
Government of Jharkhand is willing to take this forward, and with your support we are sure that we can reach to the last mile, to the last girl reading in our school. Government of Jharkhand right now is trying to reopen the school in the best possible manner so that the COVID issues are tackled well. But as and when our schools are opened, then we will make sure that every girl child is actually provided all the supports required to remain in the school. At the same time, the awareness regarding menstrual health should also reach the society at large, and especially to the school going children, both girls and boys, so that the taboo associated with the menstrual health can go away. Let me congratulate Network 18 and Whisper for gathering more than 1 million petition for spreading awareness regarding menstrual health cycle. I am sure that this initiative will go a long way to make sure that girl student does not drop out of the school after class 7 or 8, because that is one of the basic problems facing our educational society.
For our campaign period of pride, this is a momentous occasion. The Jharkhand government and the representatives are right here has agreed to adopt the updated curriculum being developed by Whisper and UNESCO and is in the process to make period education more inclusive, updated, gender sensitive and of course readily available. Period of pride thanks the Jharkhand government for taking the lead, emerging the first among equals and setting the process rolling in earnest. As we near the end of this year-long journey, over 10 lakh people have signed the petition to support Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, to counter the narrative against the unhealthy silences and practices around menstruation and to deepen our learning and understanding. This is a resoundingly affirmative beginning, the beginning of a concerted movement to keep millions of girls who drop out of school because of lack of menstrual health management in the classrooms. Bhumi, you have been a part of this journey from day one. It's been a year's worth of hard work and 10 lakh signatures that has made this day possible.
Absolutely. Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch. I can't thank everybody who's been a part of this. Network 18, PNG, everyone. Thank you so much. I feel so proud. I feel so honored to be a part of this initiative and I am so overwhelmed by the results. I'm so overwhelmed by the participation of the people. We are already over 1 million. We have many more people that are going to keep joining us and yeah, I really pray and I really hope that we see a positive change in the coming years, in the coming months, in the coming days.
आसमान पे तारे और जमीन पर बेटियां, उनकी मुस्कुराहट को एक नई उड़ान दे. To keep young hope alive, to keep young dreams flying high, let us all come together. As we close bringing home the heart of our message, the one and only Shankar Mahadevan.
खो न जाए खो न जाए खो न जाए खो न जाए खो न जाए
The myths about menstruation are so largely prevalent that it forces girls to miss almost 10 to 20% of their school days. Statistics also shows that 1 out of every 5 girls drops out of school after they start their periods. Unfortunately, we as a nation are not doing enough to right this wrong. It is time to address this issue. Schools are a medium where this can all begin. Menstrual hygiene management should form an integral and important part of the school curriculum. For boys and girls, of course. Investing in menstrual health and hygiene will not only ensure that millions of girls stay in school, but also make sure that they get a dignified and healthy lives.
Menstrual cycle is something which is not dirty. It is something which is a natural phenomena. That period education is something that should be there in the schools, and so that tomorrow the girls do not drop out from school.
4-5 years back, we used to be a bit shy about talking about periods, but I think it's been 4-5 years that we can openly go to the support staff and tell how we are feeling or how our body is feeling because we are down with our periods, and that has made our lives very easy. So I think it's very important to go out there and communicate and not be shy about it.
Menstrual hygiene is a matter of right and dignity, and we must break the silence around menstrual hygiene. And it is high time that we must take action by including menstrual hygiene in all the school curriculum in India. I urge all of you to support this cause and sign the petition.
I remember during my time when we were taught about menstrual health and hygiene, and we were first told about what are periods, it used to be always a girls group and then a workshop would happen. But stigma really goes if it becomes a part of curriculum in the schools where both boys and girls are taught together about periods and also about actually giving them sex education.
Whisper presents Period of Pride, Ek Swachh Soch, an initiative by